not a damn debate, guys.
You like that?
Take that for data.
How about that, Cowboy?
Yeah.
Over here. No. Hey. Now you got it.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Anybody who bets Michigan football in the first week of the season is an idiot.
Touchdown, J.J. McCarthy. The Wolverines lead it.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles. Today's guests, 28-time Emmy Award winner Bob Costas, host of ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith, Bills linebacker Von Miller, from Netflix's Cobra Kai, actor Martin Kove, and now it's Rich Eisen.
Yes, it is. Welcome to this edition of the Rich Eisen Show in an NFL week, leading to week one of the NFL season that starts just up the road from this Los Angeles television and radio studio when the Bills and the Rams take on one another, and Von Miller is on this program to talk about it. We are here for you over the next 3 hours right here on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. This month, we will migrate this show to the Roku channel, and it will be free, and it will be glorious. It's going to be on all Roku devices, select Samsung televisions, Amazon Fire TV, any mobile device can get the Roku app on which the Roku channel can be found, and this show can be streamed for free and also on desktop. The RokuChannel.com is the spot for you to go plug into your internet web tubes and watch this show every single day for free. We've got Bob Costas on this show and all 19 million of his Emmys in about 20 minutes time. We also on this program have Stephen A. Smith from the worldwide leader in sports. He will have the first take in hour number 2 of this program. And because we love doing this show so much, and the reason why we love doing this show so much is because we can have somebody like Bob Costas on this show, somebody like Stephen A. Smith on this show. We can have a Super Bowl MVP returning to the place where he won the Super Bowl just a few months ago in Von Miller on this program. And we can have John Kreese of Cobra Kai, Martin Kove in studio on this program. That's how we roll on the Rich Eisen Show on this program. Good to see you over there, Chris Brockman, on this wondrous NFL Week 1 Tuesday. How are you, sir?
Let's go, Rich.
Mike Del Tufo is back from whatever the hell he was doing. Good to see you over there, Mike. DJ Mikey D.
Good to see you, Rich.
Thank you, sir. Light the candle, TJ Jefferson. Light the candle on this program.
Guys, I just want to let you know, 23 years ago today, I hopped in a minivan and left Mount Washington and Pittsburgh and made my way west, man. And it was the best decision of my entire life, so I'm happy to still be
from
here,
Eastern time zone to the West Coast. TJ Jefferson right here. And speaking of Pittsburgh, PA, speaking right now is Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers talking about his quarterback depth chart that over the weekend had Mitchell Trubisky on top, then Mason Rudolph, then Kenny Pickett, and then just early this morning, Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph swapped spots on that depth chart. So Mason Rudolph currently third on the depth chart behind Kenny Pickett, behind Mitchell Trubisky, as we are 5 days away from the Steelers opening the season in Cincinnati, Ohio. And there's lots of questions about that. I'm sure Mike Tomlin will address them head on, as only he can on this program. A wild weekend of college football to get to on this show as well. Chris Brockman has his five new teams with burning questions. They are teams 15 through 11. As we're heading towards the top 10 of Chris Brockman's 1 through 32 de facto power rankings. Yes, we're entering the realm of playoff teams. Playoffs. on this program with your burning questions. And then we also have the usual Monday segment of Overreaction. Monday, there's you at 844-204-RICH being the number to dial on this program. Okay, the season begins in 2 days from today. And on the day of the season beginning, I will have my usual show open, in which I've got my burning questions for all 32 teams. That's the way I've started this show in the 8 years of me doing the Rich Eisen Show during an NFL season. Tonight on NFL Network, I will be hosting the NFL Game Day Morning Kickoff Show, on which I will be part of all the prognosticators, giving you my division winners. Well, guess what? Because you take in this show on this Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio station, or Odyssey, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. I'm going to give them to you now. I need NFL Films music from you, Mike Del Tufo.
Let's go.
It is now time for me to reveal who I believe will win every single division in the National Football League. And let's start with the NFC and the NFC East. I've been talking about it. If you've been watching this show over the last several weeks, you know I've been trying to talk myself into this. And then the day that Tyron Smith went down with a leg injury for potentially the entire season, bless Jerry Jones, who we all adore here on this program, him saying that he'll be back for the playoffs. Good to know that the Cowboys have already made the playoffs, and we haven't even had a game played in the 2022 season. I say the Philadelphia Eagles win this division. I like everything that they've done in this offseason. I like adding A.J. Brown on draft day, very aggressive, which is what Harry Roseman has been, all the way up until last week when they got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson into their secondary that is vastly improved, and the two levels of defense in front of it have two Georgia Bulldogs on it from Jordan Davis and also Nakobe Dean from this year's draft. I like what they did with their run game last year. I like their roster top to bottom, and I like Jalen Hurts to be the guy to get it done this year at quarterback and win the NFC East for the Philadelphia Eagles. Moving on to the NFC North. This has been Green Bay's division for a long time. They own the Chicago Bears, or Aaron Rodgers does, at the top of the masthead there in Chicago, Illinois. And I know that the Lions have improved some, and I like the Vikings a lot this year. And everybody has been talking about how Green Bay is going to be less than because they don't have 17 anymore. Their number one receiver, the best receiver in the game, Devontae Adams, is now wearing silver and black in Las Vegas, Nevada. Put it all together, I think the Vikings unlock Kirk Cousins this year in a way that I have not seen, but it is still Aaron Rodgers' division. The Green Bay Packers take the NFC North once again because 12 is still 12. Their run game is still their run game. This is, by all accounts, going into this season, the best defense the Packers have put on the field in quite some time, and their coach is the king of 13-win seasons. I think Matt LaFleur and this team will still keep on keeping on. They might have less of, if you will, an explosive offense without Devontae Adams, but I still think they win this division, and the NFC South still belongs to Tom Brady. I know that Carolina is feeling good about themselves with Baker Mayfield, and rightfully so. The Saints, I still need to see it before I can believe it. I think the Saints will be a sleeper team this year, but I don't think they're going to beat the Bucs in the long run. They may beat them on the field when they see them in week 2, and they may beat them on the field when they see them later in the season, as has been their want in the Tom Brady era. But this is still Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is still one of the best offenses in the league. It looks like Chris Godwin will not have a limitation when he goes on the field on Sunday night, as expected. I think the defense will look as good as advertised. I'm concerned about the offensive line in front of Brady up front, but I trust Tom to keep himself healthy and Leonard Fournette to do what needs to be done from the running back position for this team to still be the class of the NFC South. And then in the NFC West, you've got yourself an interesting top of the class with the 49ers almost making the Super Bowl, almost beating the Rams in their house just up the road in the NFC Championship game, and you swap out Jimmy G for Trey Lance. And I am very high on Trey Lance and this defense and that coaching staff. Certainly when they go against the Rams 6 in a row in the regular season, just throw out that one pesky playoff loss, I guess. It's still the Rams' house. and they're better.
Whose house?
I like Allen Robinson. Man, do I love Bobby Wagner behind Aaron Donald. That's going to be what the kids call sick. And Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. Cam Akers at the running back position will be a revelation. That's my 2 cents on that subject matter. And Sean McVay and that team is just as strong as ever. I like the Rams to win the NFC West, and that's my division winners for the NFC. Eagles in the East, Packers in the North, Bucks in the South, Rams in the West. Let's take the music down. Let's take a break here before I get to the AFC. Not on this program. I just want to bounce those off you. I know you don't like my Eastern prediction, TJ Jefferson. What about the rest?
Why do you think I don't like your Eastern?
Because you're a Cowboy fan. That's why.
That's fine. Again, you were on vacation, eating noodles. I think when I said that.
That's called pasta.
Pasta, okay, noodles, pasta with gravy. But yeah, I picked
just a little bit.
I said the Eagles were in my top 10, which means I said without saying that I picked them to win the East. So.
They could be in your top 10. The Cowboys were not in your top 10?
They were not. Okay. Brockman was shocked.
Christopher, what do you think of those 4 picks?
I think, you've been talking yourself into the Eagles and you went for it, but then you played it safe after that. I think if you were going to really be all in on what Kevin O'Connell is going to do for Kirk Cousins, you would have picked the Vikings.
I still think he's going to unlock
the safe way out.
I think I took the accurate way out. And I still think that Kevin O'Connell can unlock Cousins. But when it comes down to it, I think the Packers are still going to win that division. 12 still better. 12 still better than an unlocked Kirk Cousins. I mean, when you come down to it.
And then we've been talking nonstop about the 49ers and Trey Lance, and then you took the easy way out and took the Rams.
It's not the easy way out. They're the better team.
But all I've been hearing about for months and months and months is that Trey Lance is Joe Montana and Colin Kaepernick all into one.
I think that is a gross mischaracterization.
That's what I've been hearing from that chair for months.
You've been hearing from
so
this
what you
chair
should
for
have
months.
done, Rich, you should have went Eagles, Bucks, obviously, Vikings, 49ers.
Is that where you would go?
Is what you should have done.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Trey Montana.
I don't think Montana, just so anybody understands. I don't think Trey Lance is Montana. I don't think Trey Lance is Montana and Kaepernick all rolled into one. I think that Trey Lance is going to be terrific. And I think, I think he will be terrific. And I think that this is his team. And I've been saying they were going to go to him for this team. But I don't think that the Rams are going to be beaten in that division in the long run. And there will be ups and downs. And they're going to stick with him. That's what I've been saying. Hit the NFL Films music, Mike. Here we go. Hit the NFL Films music. It is now time for my predictions in the American Football Conference. I just gave you the NFC. If you missed it, go to our YouTube page and see the rest of it. Here are my predictions for the AFC, starting in the East. It's the Bills, man. It's the Bills world. We're just rent payers. They've got it all. They've got it all, from the quarterback to the secondary, in every single aspect of this game in between. They should win this division. They should win the conference. That's how good they are. They've got young, they've got veteran, they've got all of it. I love Gabe Davis big time. I love James Cook to be added to that running back room. I love what they did on the offensive line. I love their defense. I like the fact that their coaching staff has stayed pretty much intact with the exception of Daboll. I think they will be just fine because Josh Allen is an MVP candidate of the first variety. I like the Buffalo Bills to win this division. Despite the Dolphins having a lot of people on that bandwagon, you never can count out the Patriots. Joe Flacco looks like to be starting for the Jets this week. I'm not taking that okie doke that Zach Wilson is possible.
Practiced yesterday.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good, even if he does play. And I'm high on the Jets. As you know, as a sleeper team, this is the Bills division. The AFC North, man, oh man, oh man. I'm seeing a lot of Ravens picks, and I'm seeing a lot of Ravens picks. Let's just put it that way. And I'm a Harbaugh guy, and I still think that everybody looks at the Bengals and thinks they're just the Bengals. Oh, well, you know what? They just caught fire at the end of last year. I was just put them in a 6-week box in which they beat the Chiefs twice and put 500 on those Ravens that everybody's taken to win the division. 500 yards that Joe Burrow put on them. Joe Burrow is all that.
And the biscuit.
Plus the biscuit.
And a biscuit.
Plus the biscuit.
Drink.
They've improved the offensive line. They made all the additions they need to make, and they're going to be a year better. I don't know why People aren't. If this was any other team that made the Super Bowl in the AFC, of course you put them at winning their division. The Bengals win the AFC North. And I think people better get used to this. How does that sound? Get used to it. Get used to seeing number 9 a lot win football games. Big time. They stay healthy. It's their division. It was their conference. They're the defending conference champs. Okay, let's have them finish second or even third in their division. Not me. No. In the AFC South, we all know with the Texans and the Jaguars still trying to get their footing, it's a 2-team divisional race. And the question is Titans or Colts. I'm going Colts. I'm going Colts here. They've got their own MVP candidate and a guy who's kind of, won the award. Now at controls of the offense. And the difference between Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan is felt in every corner of that locker room that contains a pretty darn good defense. And this may be the best offensive line Matt Ryan's ever played behind in his career. And I don't know if anybody saw this quote in The Athletic from Michael Pittman, the difference between Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. This was a sealer for me, saying, quote unquote, last year, this is their number 1 wide receiver on offense. Last year we were out there running the plays, but we were basically just playing football. What does that mean? Well, we would just run around and make plays. This year we're trying to be organized, be at our spots and at our depths, because that's how Matt likes it and how he commands it. And that's what he expects. So you better be there. Got it.
Got it. Wow, what a quote.
Got it. I'm taking the Colts to win the AFC South. And everybody knows where I'm going on the AFC West. Everybody knows where I'm going on the AFC West. And there is everybody high on the Broncos for good reason. Let's ride. Right?
Let's ride. No, we're riding.
You're riding.
I'm riding. Let's ride.
It went from I'm not cooking to I'm riding.
Let's ride.
Right? Russ is there. Russ is there, and he's going to unlock this offense for the new coach, Nathaniel Hackett, and I don't doubt it. And Justin Herbert, it's another year for the Chargers, who got better. Khalil Mack up front. He might be, longer in the tooth, but he's still Khalil Mack. J.C. Jackson, if healthy in the back. They paid Derwin James. Everyone's healthy and happy, pretty much. And their coach, I love Brandon Staley. And Austin Eckler in that offense behind Justin Herbert, they could be really potent. Got it. Believe it. Chiefs, I've said here, everyone's sleeping on the Chiefs offense just because Tyreek Hill's gone. It might be more diversified. It might be tougher for you to defend with all their weapons on offense now. And George Karlaftis has been added to a defense. This kid could be Defensive Rookie of the Year. And that's possible. Laugh all you want. I'm taking the Raiders. Raiders are going to win this division. I'm taking the Raiders in this division because I believe for sure Devontae Adams and Derek Carr are at the top 5 of the quarterback wide receiver combinations in this league. And I'm concerned about the offensive line up front, but man, do I love Max Crosby and Chandler Jones on the same defense. I love Hunter Renfrow along with Darren Waller. And this team had all that moxie last year with their coach bounced due to all the awfulness in his emails. They lost a teammate because he wiped somebody off the planet stupidly driving drunk. And they still made the playoffs. And they still made the playoffs the way that they made it in game 260. What is it? 262? 272? I'm terrible at math off the top of my head.
272.
And then they almost beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. And they got a coach who can now put it all together, who will be better the second time around, just like Belichick was. Taking the Raiders to win the AFC West. So, my AFC division winners are the Bills, Bengals, Colts, and Raiders. What say you? What say you? You can give us a comment if you're watching it on social media later, or call us right now, 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Let's take a break. Bob Costas will be, when we return, he will be here. The great Bob Costas, who's back on the record with Bob Costas, is back with the continuation of its second season, all new episode Friday. Nick Saban. He chatted with Nick Saban and Justin Verlander.
Nice.
I can't wait to ask Bob if Aaron Judge is going to be the real home run single season king. That's coming up next.
Oh, shut up.
Last spot.
Back here on our radio program on Odyssey and also here on our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Our terrestrial radio audience will return in almost about a minute's time here on this show. That's when we'll welcome in Bob Costas. Stephen A. Smith will join us in hour number 2 along with Von Miller, who is going to be, I imagine the Bills get on a plane today, right? Certainly if the Patriots are getting on a plane for Miami today,
yeah,
they're going to go down there and get used to the weather.
The heat.
Bill's just like done with this whole business of he's just trying. That's like I've been a Rubik's Cube. They're just trying to crack that code, man.
I do not have a good feeling.
That the Dolphins are going to put up 30 and the Patriots.
The Pats might.
Tyquan Thornton's the only one that won't be up. That the kid is supposed to take the top of the defense.
Yeah, and he looked so good in the first 2 preseason games, and it was kind of like a bright spot for the offense. And with him out, I just don't see it unless they can run the ball.
Well, again, I imagine the Bills are getting on a plane today, but as soon as practice is over, in hour number 2, Von Miller will join us. Then I imagine head off to the airport to come here to Los Angeles, where he won a Super Bowl just about 7 months ago, right here in Big Ten country, Los Angeles, California. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio network, along with our friends on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Once again, we're moving to the Roku channel once September gets a little bit deeper. We're working on it. We're going to give you a date in very short order, but this month the show migrates to the Roku channel after what we really enjoyed 2 years on Peacock. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial on the show. You know how very successful television shows have two different parts of the same season, right? Better Call Saul did that, right, Chris?
Right, split it up.
Breaking Bad's done that. Well, the Back on the Record with Bob Costas continues its second season with an all-new episode this Friday at 11 Eastern on HBO, available to stream also on HBO Max. The great Bob Costas back here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Mercedes-Benz Vans Film Line. How you doing, Bob?
I'm good, Rich, and I know I'm on the Rich Eisen Show.
Yes, sir.
But you are on so many ever-shifting platforms.
Yes, sir.
It's dizzying for me. At least your cell phone remains the same.
Yes, it does.
So if I need to contact you or get a message to Susie, I'm still good. But apart from that, I have no idea where out in the ether I can locate you.
I will text you, since I know that you're in the world of smartphones now for a few years, Bob.
Yes.
You've been off that flip phone for a while. I will text you the press release once it's out, and so you can make notes, as I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I will cut and paste it, as I'm capable of doing, and send it to all relevant parties.
Well, it's interesting. I could see that on the first episode of the second season of Back on the Record with Bob Costas inside the NFL Scouting Combine. And that's unbelievable, Bob. You did that. I didn't see you there at the NFL Scouting Combine. Did I get the wrong? Did they get the wrong press release?
There was some sort of mix-up in the HBO press office. What I did do, though, however, alluding to your earlier point, was at my behest, basically, they took the whole summer off so I could concentrate on baseball.
Excellent.
You know, I kind of make my own schedule these days, Rich. I don't want to. I want to watch my pitch count as much as I possibly can. And I'm kind of in a Toby Keith mode. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Bob Costas, everybody.
Different sort of activity, so perhaps it doesn't apply. But nonetheless, I'm a show pony, not a plow horse at this point, Rich. So we're back for the second half of the second season. You're correct, on Friday night.
Fantastic. Well, I think I got the proper information now. Nick Saban and Justin Verlander, so potentially the future national champion head coach and American League Cy Young Award winner. Those are the two guys.
Yeah, he was
that
on a Cy Young track until what we think is a minor calf injury might cost them a couple of starts, and they can be careful, of course, because they've all but clinched the number one seed, so they'll have home field throughout the American League playoffs. And it's an amazing story. He's 39 years old, 2 Tommy John surgeries. In 2019, he wins the Cy Young Award. He leads the league in innings pitched. He throws his third no-hitter. And then between 2020 and 2021, he pitches exactly 6 innings. And now he's back as good as ever after all that at age 39, and he should be okay when it really counts in October.
So let me just jump in with a baseball question for you, Bob Costas, as Aaron Judge. If you remember that old Bugs Bunny cartoon where Bugs Bunny was at first base, second base, third base, and scored every run and made every hit for his team? That's what it looks like Aaron Judge currently is for the New York Yankees. And he's now one ahead, if you will, of the pace of Roger Maris through the number of games that the Yankees have currently played, 54 home runs. So I ask you, Bob, the question that is burning amongst all baseball fans, certainly in New York, based on the fact that there is Bonds in front of him, clearly, and others, McGuire and Sosa, would you consider Aaron Judge, if he breaks Maris's record, the single-season home run king in the history of baseball, Bob Costas?
The authentic single-season home run
king. Sir.
Yes. And for now, Roger Maris is the authentic single-season home run king, just as Henry Aaron is the authentic career home run king. Now, both of those records are held by Barry Bonds, and you have to stipulate this. Barry Bonds, on his natural merits, was one of the greatest all-round players of any era, an elite inner-circle Hall of Famer. But anyone with half a brain can look at the change, not just the obvious change in his body, but the change, the quantum change in his statistics, Hall of Fame statistics as they were, between the beginning of his career, which was, enough to have a good idea, 13, 14 seasons, and then the late 90s through the first several years of the 2000s. That was more of a cartoon than Bugs Bunny, which you referred to earlier. And the same was true of Sosa and McGuire and others, but Bonds was the best of all of them to begin with the possible exception of a healthy Ken Griffey Jr. as a contemporary. He was the best of all of them and then took it to the highest possible level, and he's the one who holds the record. So we're not singling him out because we don't like Barry Bonds. In fact, even though some members of the media didn't get along with him, I always got along with him until I pointed these things out, and then he felt less kindly toward me, but I think we've patched it up since. So it has nothing to do with that. It's just obviously true. So statistically and officially, Barry Bonds holds both those records, and 73 is unreachable. But in the minds of many reasonable people, if Aaron Judge hits 62 or more, he will be the authentic single-season record holder.
And what he's doing right now, again, is a reminder of what the V in MVP stands for.
That's
most
right.
valuable player, because the Yankees have just totally fallen apart offensively over the last several weeks, and Judge just keeps on keeping on, and he's now homered in 3 straight games. He scored every run for the Yankees in their weekend series against the Rays, and pulled one out against Tampa to try and hold on to a once-upon-a-time 15.5-game lead that's now down to 5 games. I mean, he has been valuable, but Ohtani hit 2 more home runs, and we know he's that unicorn. Where do you stand on that MVP conversation, Bob?
I think it's clear that Aaron Judge is this year's MVP. Ohtani is an historic player, and he was the MVP last year. And if he keeps doing this, he'll be in contention for the MVP almost every year. If Judge were having merely what would be considered your average, if there is such a thing, MVP season on a contending team, then you could make a case for Ohtani, even though the trapdoor opened on the Angels sometime in May and they haven't been in contention ever since. But given that stark difference, and given the fact that Judge is having an historic season of his own, if the term MVP is going to mean anything at all, then Judge is this year's MVP. But unless he gets hurt, Ohtani will probably add additional MVPs to the one he won last year.
Bob Costas here on the Rich Eisen Show. You got a good Pujols story? As it appears he might hit 700 before he rides off in the sunset, which everyone's wondering why he's still doing because of what he's currently doing, Bob?
Well, I think it's pretty certain. I haven't spoken with him this year. He was always very open and very gracious with me and other members of the media. As you know, I was connected to St. Louis for a very long time, and when he did had most of his great seasons wearing a Cardinal uniform. I don't know that I have any specific story other than the fact that, you know, he wasn't called the machine for nothing. He's one of the great right-handed hitters. I don't care, as difficult it is to compare across eras. You want to compare him to Rogers Hornsby or to some contemporary, to Miguel Cabrera, whoever you want to compare him to. I don't know who you could possibly put ahead of him. Because he stuck around for a while and all the at-bats with the Angels, his lifetime batting average has fallen beneath 300, unless this recent rampage has nudged him just above it. I haven't checked. But there was a time when he was hitting 40 home runs a year and batting 330, and driving in 100-plus runs. And what he's done now, you get him up there against left-handed pitching, it isn't just like a nostalgia tour, and here he is 42 years old, and maybe you'll touch one off. He's one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball right now against left-handed pitching. And with a universal DH, the Cardinals have been able to make good use of him. Without the universal DH, he never could have returned to St. Louis and had all the glorious circumstances surrounding this last hurrah. And they're a very good team right now. They're going to have to go into the wild card round because the byes are going to belong, obviously, to the Dodgers and either the Braves or the Mets, whichever one wins the National League East. But they've got a chance to have a pretty deep October run, and he could be a big factor.
I mean, how about him in his final at-bat against the Cubs in the vaunted Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, hitting a pinch-hit home run to win the game? I mean, it really is. Those are the best moments in any sport. But baseball in particular, because of the the individuality of standing alone at the plate, not to go all Untouchables soliloquy on you, but for the level of expectation and hope by anybody watching to be met in the moment, sort of like what Gibson did against Eckersley, and I know that's the ultimate, but for Pujols to step to the plate in a pinch hit role and what will be, unless he does acquiesce and come back, his final at-bat against the Cubs, you can't script it, what he's doing right now. Well, it's unreal. It's great. A
pinch-hit home run in a scoreless game
in
the 8th inning.
Right.
That made it 2-0. It's a consequential hit.
Right.
And most of these home runs during this hot streak, they're not pop flies that dunk over the barrier. They're tape measure shots. I mean, this one was a 430-foot blast over the bullpen and into the bleachers.
Unbelievable. It's just so great. Bob Costas here on the Rich Eisen Show. Back on the Record with Bob Costas. Rolls on into its second season, all new episode this Friday, 11 Eastern, on HBO. We just talked about some baseball because you spoke to Justin Verlander. What does one glean, Bob, from Nick Saban at this point in his career, sitting down with him, Bob?
Well, we talked a little bit about his background. I'd read a couple of his books, and he has an interesting and somewhat poignant backstory, his childhood and his early coaching career. Talked a little bit about his relationship with Bill Belichick, and I asked him an obvious question. What happens if you give Belichick all of your recruits and personnel for this run of years, and you take all of the same Patriots personnel? And so he answered that question. It's kind of interesting. But most of the focus, and it's a lengthy interview, and that's one of the things that brings me back to HBO, the chance to do commentaries and a little bit of journalism and long-form interviews. I like that. So it's probably 17, 18 minutes long once we edited it down. And most of it concentrates on the seismic changes taking place in college sports in general and college football in particular, and who better to address that than Nick Saban, and he was pretty good on all those subjects.
Well, I mean, what he said about Texas A&M was quite something. Did you bring that one up with him?
Absolutely. Brought up Jimbo Fisher, and he very straightforwardly said, I shouldn't have said what I did. I called to apologize. At first he didn't take that call, but then we saw each other at the SEC meetings sometime after that, and we're good going forward. And I reminded him, I think they play on October 8th.
Yes, they do.
In Tuscaloosa, and I reminded him that even if you two say you're good, I want to put it behind you and it's all about the players, that's not the way this thing is going to be covered. And he recognized that. And he said that his point was about name, image, and likeness. He's all in favor of name, image, and likeness, but the players should not, in his view, be able to capitalize on that until they arrive on campus. It shouldn't be used as a recruiting tool. And even if it's technically allowed in some cases, he believes that that will create additional chaos if it's specifically being used as a recruiting tool. You say to a kid and his parents, look, we guarantee you, there's a car dealership here in small town, whatever this university is in, guarantee you $100,000 right off the bat before he goes to a class. That was his concern, and he said he should have couched it that way and in a more general way and not mentioned Fisher or Texas A&M.
No, but we all know where this is going. I mean, this is professional sports, Bob. It really is. I mean, the Big Ten just signed a contract with not one, not two, but three different television networks for over $1 billion a year. That's right on par with Major League Baseball's contract with ESPN and Fox. And Jim Harbaugh, my coach at Michigan, says he thinks that players should get a piece of the television revenue. And once that happens, unionization is right around the corner. I mean,
correct
if these
on all
things
those
happen.
counts, and maybe the Pac-12 merging with the Big Ten, the numbers 12 and 10 being irrelevant at this point,
right,
and creating two separate divisions, an Eastern and Midwest division and a Rocky Mountain, and I don't know, whatever the hell it is, creating two separate divisions, but they're merged. Either way, the public demands the traditional encounter between USC and Rutgers, so they'll get that.
I haven't been around the East Coast too often, Bob. Are you hearing that? You're hearing that walking around New York City? That drumbeat?
The excitement is palpable.
Nothing gets the juices flowing quite like New Brunswick versus Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying? Those are the recruiting wars right there.
There are cultural resentments there that just bubble to the surface.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Who else you have coming up in the second part of season 2 for you? You want to lay down some names that are coming up as well?
The next show is in November. We skip October because I'm involved in the baseball postseason.
Yes.
But if the World Series goes 7, it goes all the way till Saturday, November 5th. Because they had to push it back because of the lockout and the extra layer of playoffs with the wild card round being 2 out of 3. So fortuitously, the next show is just a few days after what would be Game 7, and Rob Manfred will be one of our guests to talk about all the issues that are swirling around baseball. And we haven't booked the rest of the show, but we know we'll have Manfred in November. And for this show on Friday, in addition to Verlander and Nick Saban, it turns out that September 9th, this Friday, is 50 years to the day that the controversial game in the Munich Olympics happened between the U.S. basketball team and the Soviet Union. And we have kind of a first-person recollection from Doug Collins, who made arguably the 2 most pressure-packed free throws in the history of basketball. The U.S. had never lost a game, won every gold medal dating back to 1936. They're down by a point. He steals the ball, drives to the basket, is undercut, knocked into the basket stanchion, momentarily knocked woozy, gets to his feet. They're down by 1 point with 3 seconds to go, and he swishes both free throws. And then the Soviet Union gets, as some people may recall or have heard about, 3 separate chances in some sort of travesty and havoc, 3 separate chances to eventually score what turns out to be the winning basket. And to this day, none of the American players have accepted the silver medal. The medal stand was empty. The second stand in Munich at the medal ceremony reserved for the silver medalist was empty. The medals are still in a vault at IOC headquarters in Lausanne, and some of the players on that team have gone so far as to put it in their will that none of their heirs can ever accept the silver medal. So Doug talks about that, and I know him so well from our days together broadcasting the NBA on NBC.
Right.
So I brought this up to him, and I don't want to let too much of the cat out of the bag, but the last song he listened to on his headset, some sort of primitive headset, a Walkman or something he must have had, in 1972, before taking the court, trying to get himself psyched up, was Jimmy Ruffin's "What Becomes of the Broken-Hearted." And every time he hears that song, he's transported back to that game and those moments.
Wow. That'll be a great episode, as always, Bob. Thanks for the time. Best to everyone in your whole family. Best to Jill. Best to everybody. And let's chat again soon.
Thank you, Rich. Hope to see you soon.
Right back at you. That's the great Bob Costas. Everybody check out Back on the Record with Bob Costas coming up this Friday on HBO. Walkman. That didn't exist. It's probably like a crawl man.
Yeah, what were they listening to? And
can you hook like a headset up to a record player?
Reel to reel, Rich. Back then, it
would have been,
or 8-track, early 8-track.
8-track. How about that? In the will, do not accept what those. They're somewhere in Switzerland, the silver medals. That'd be like
I love it.
Like,
love that.
Don't you think that would be like some sort of national treasure type sports caper to go get those, right?
Who is our sports Nick Cage that's going to go out there?
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. Well, he's still got the hair. Pour him some of that tea and go sick him in Switzerland. He'll do it.
Pour him some of that tea.
All right, let's take a break right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Burning questions from Chris Brockman. And while we're on the subject of college football, as soon as we got off the air, a 12-team college football playoff idea got voted on and approved. That's coming up next. That was from Friday.
here is the connection.
Yes, Bob.
Between me and JB Smoove. It involves the cult classic Pootie Tang. JB Smoove is in Pootie Tang.
Yes.
And it goes without saying that without me, Pootie Tang is nothing.
There's not. You put the tang in Pootie Tang.
I did.
I bet.
I did, just like the astronauts.
Hey, what's going on?
JB! JB Smoove!
I'm back there. I'm back there. He was trash talking me, man. I mean,
I wasn't trash talking you.
I look up to you, man.
I was talking you up.
No, I look up to you while I'm looking down on you.
Anyone who looks up to me is a person I admire.
Do you have any good from the set stories of Pootie Tang?
We were never on the set together.
Yeah.
There's some great stories of Pootie Tang. Any man who can fight with a belt.
Right.
How do you not have great stories? The man who had a ponytail and a belt and had his own language. How do you not build a movie on that platform and have success? You know, it's a cult classic. People sit in their basement smoking the funny stuff while they watch it.
Yeah, and you don't even need the funny stuff.
No, you don't.
Although it helps.
It does help. It's a great movie.
I'd be reunited with JB Smoove.
My brother, we are back.
My man.
We are back.
By the way, Bob said Pootie Tang 5 times during that interview.
And that's 22 fewer times than Marshawn Lynch said he was there to be fined.
Yeah.
I'm going to sign your pity on a runny kind, brother. And if you want to try to stop me, I got to say the name out.
What is happening right now?
From our first ever Super Bowl. That was from right before Malcolm Butler picked off Russell Wilson.
So much has
happened. That's how long we've been around, man.
So much has happened since then.
Check it all out on our YouTube page right here on our stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business, and that is true when your business is growing fast, but even more true when there's a lot of uncertainty like there are in these uncertain times. But not every business is in the dark, folks, because over 31,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and, of course, inventory, so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need all in one place. Know your numbers, know your business, and get to know how NetSuite can be the source of truth for your entire company. Identify rising costs, automate your manual business processes, see where to save your money. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/Rich Radio right now. netsuite.com/Rich Radio. Don't forget that last part. It's important for everybody. netsuite.com/Rich Radio. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on the program. Jacob in Indiana, let's take your phone call right here on the show. What's up, Jacob?
Hey, Rich, how's it going?
What's going on, sir?
Not much. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you, sir.
I just have a couple of things to say about the Eagles winning the East. I mean, I completely agree with you. I'm an Eagles fan that lives in Indiana, and I'm still not the biggest believer in Jalen Hurts, but with the roster that Howie has set up, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. And with how easy the schedule is this year, there's a very good chance for them to become the #1 seed in the conference. What do you think about that, Rich?
Thank you very much. Let me just spend a couple minutes here before I send things over to Chris for his burning questions. I've done a lot of thinking about why Jalen Hurts doesn't have the full confidence of everybody in the NFL community, despite his clear, significant amount of talent that he has and his leadership skills. I think it's because Tua leapfrogged him. And I think it's because when he went to Oklahoma, after, by the way, staying in Alabama, after so many kids just say, I'm out of here. And that's the rumor about why Saban turned to Tua at that moment, is because Tua was going to transfer out. That's never really been confirmed. But that's been the rumor since the minute it happened. And Jalen Hurts stuck around. He stuck around, and then he went to Oklahoma, and everyone figures, well, Kyler won a Heisman Trophy, and Baker won a Heisman Trophy there. So it was a Heisman Trophy machine. All you had to do is just plug and play him. And he didn't win a Heisman there. And then he gets drafted in the second round, which is a surprise because everybody didn't have that grade on him. And then he gets to Philadelphia and he starts balling out. And by the way, he can really play football. If he could just put together what he does for your fantasy team in like the late third, fourth quarter last year over 4 quarters, they're going to win the division and he will be their guy. I think that's why people kind of overlook him.
Yeah, I don't think that gets talked about enough.
I don't think so. And because I'm wondering, he's clearly insanely talented. Why don't you give him the benefit of the doubt? I think that may be why.
Do we need Hertzanon? What's a good,
there's Tuanon,
yeah,
and I don't know.
Something going there for Jalen?
I don't know. But I've been thinking a lot about that, and I think that's where I've landed on the Hurts hate, if you will.
I don't think you're
the shade. All right, Chris Brockman, you've got teams 15 through 11. Burning questions for Chris Brockman, teams 15 through 11.
Brockman's burning questions.
That's the fire. All right, the NFL season right around the corner, Chris. Who's 15 through 11 on your
top
rankings?
Hey, you're going to see a lot of familiar teams in this 5. Teams that we've been talking about a lot in the last few months. Number 15, TJ, Dallas Cowboys. My burning question for them is pretty simple. If the losses rack up this year, how large will Sean Payton's shadow loom on that entire franchise?
Wow, you worked it all together. How did you get all of the issues of the Cowboys in one single question? There it is. If losses rack up, how large will Sean Payton's shadow loom? That's all right there, right?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think a lot of people, me including, expect Sean Payton to be the head coach of this team next year because Dallas, even if they do make the playoffs, if they're one and done, McCarthy's out. So anything less than a Super Bowl or a Super Bowl appearance, I think, is the only way he saves his job.
How will they score enough points if necessary? That's the question. But their defense is really freaking good, man. Really good. So, do you agree with that question for your team? Is that your most burning question for your team, TJ Jefferson?
I mean, I've got 5 things, which I'll get to probably later this week.
Okay.
But, what if we rack up the wins, though? It's always like we got to look at it negatively. What if we do what we're supposed to do?
Chris,
you want to talk about see how quickly he dismissed that America?
Who's 14 in your list? That's the most burning question for the Cowboys.
To give a look how the sausage was made, I was off camera doing some producing work, which made me come back to my spot just to sit here to dismiss what I said. I'm going back over here to do some producing work, America.
Okay, very good.
Continue, Chris.
Welcome to the party, pal. Number 14, a team we've been talking about a ton, the San Francisco 49ers, and it's obvious. Is Trey Lance the guy, or will Jimmy G have to save the season at some point?
That is the burning question, isn't it? They don't have any other questions. What other question could you possibly find? Is Trey Lance the guy, or will Jimmy G have to save the season? Is he the guy right now? I think he's the guy long term. Can he be the guy right now?
For this
will
year.
Jimmy G have to save the season?
For 2022.
Okay. What else, Chris?
All right, a bunch of AFC West teams coming up, guys. I think I have them slated, I think, appropriately. We'll see. I got 13. I got the Denver Broncos. Does Russell Wilson have the type of late career dominance in him like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? Russ is 34. He plans on finishing his career in Denver, he said, with this long-term extension. Now 7 years under contract. And can he do it late in his career as some of these older quarterbacks have done? We've seen Tom Brady win championships, Aaron Rodgers MVP. Can Russ do it?
I think that's the long-term, full season-long or career-long storyline arc for the burning question there. But for the 2022 season is, can Russ come in year one and do what Tom Brady did year one in Tampa, which is take a bunch of talented players with a hungry defense and turn them into champions on the spot. That's it. Can you take over a team and lead them to a title this year as so many people think they're ready to do? I don't know. That's the burning question for me for this season.
Yeah, I don't know. Number 12, I'm looking at the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, we know the AFC West is going to be stacked. The offenses are going to be awesome. So in this high-octane division, can they get the stops on defense they need to win tough games?
Okay.
That's for me. I'm looking at the defense.
I got it. I've got a burning question right there just to add to it, but get to number 11 in the meantime.
Number 11.
Everyone knows how I feel about the Raiders.
Absolutely. And number 11, the Los Angeles Chargers. We know they have one of the best rosters. They got a quarterback prime to maybe contend for MVP. But can this team just stop doing Chargers-like things and live up to their potential? That's it. Just stop going Chargers on games and live up to this potential, because the potential is through the roof.
That's true, man. Can they stop? You nailed that one. That's it right there. Can they? Because if any other team without that lightning bolt in the powder blue, like that team can win the Super Bowl. But can they stop doing Chargers-like things? And then the burning question: the Raiders. You missed it, Chris. I'm sorry to say. Is Rich Eisen correct? That's it. That's the burning question.
Are you going to jinx this team?
Am I right, is what I'm saying. That's it.
Nice.
So based on the process of elimination, you have the Chiefs winning the division.
I do, actually.
Okay.
I've come around.
Okay.
I've come around.
Well, we'll get to that for your next 2 days of burning questions.
Indeed.
We'll see if the Chiefs are in
Top 10.
the 10 through 6 or the 1 through 5. That's your way of looking at the AFC West, huh? So you've got the Raiders finishing third to the Chargers. I've got them winning it. And that's the beautiful thing about this division. You see so many predictions. It's all over the map. I've yet to see. I saw a bunch on Good Morning Football today. Has anyone chosen the Broncos to win it all?
Not that I've seen.
Because the burning question, I think people are answering the burning question that we came up with for the Broncos, or at least I did. Yours is can he have the late season or late career magic like Brady and Rodgers? But he's not in the Brady or Rodgers age group yet.
Not yet.
That's for the longer term. This year, I don't know if anybody thinks that Russ can just come in and take a team that hasn't been above 500 in a while and just say, boom, we're now winning. We're not only just winning, we're winning it all. And try and stop us. We're winning the division, and then we're going to win playoff games like he always did in Seattle. Win the division, win multiple playoff games, play in multiple playoff games at the very least, and win it all. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Broncos, Chargers. One of them go 10-7 and they miss the spot. I think it's going to be tough.
You know what's great about this? All these questions will soon be answered.
That's correct, sir.
It's coming.
Von Miller next hour, along with Stephen A. Smith. Don't you dare move.
Over here. No. Hey. Now you got it.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Anybody who bets Michigan football in the first week of the season is an idiot.
Touchdown, J.J. McCarthy. The Wolverines lead it.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles. Earlier on the show, 28-time Emmy Award winner Bob Costas. Coming up, host of ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith. Bills linebacker Von Miller. From Netflix's Cobra Kai, actor Martin Kove. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Yes, it is. Can confirm. Sources say, and now I'm on camera. Here I am wearing a great, I think, French blue button down. Or are you a button up or a button down guy? What are you? Button down, button up?
I think you button up.
I do button down. I don't know if that's an
Do you start at the top and then go down?
I don't know.
No, I thought the button down was that's the button on the collar is the button down.
All right, it's a dress shirt. It looks great. I'm doing NFL Network tonight. It's
Are you wearing that shirt?
No, I am not.
Oh.
What am I? What am I? An animal? I didn't bring my other shirt.
I don't know.
I got a suit. I got the suit and tie for tonight.
Got a pull upon.
8 Eastern time. It's me and Mooch and Kurt and Irv. For the NFL Game Day morning season preview show. We've got Von Miller coming up in 20 minutes time on this program. We've got so much to get to, including one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I cannot wait to read his book, which you can pre-order right now where all books are pre-ordered. I'm looking at the Amazon page. I love the photograph on the front of Stephen A. Smith, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. Everybody should watch that. One of my favorite humans on television and the planet, Stephen A. Smith, back here on The Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Stephen A.?
My brother, how are you, Rich? How's everything going, man?
Great to chat with you. Congrats in advance of the book. I can't wait to read it. Can't wait.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Simon and Schuster called me the other day, Friday actually, and they told me that in Barnes and Nobles, I'm number 15 in the world.
Love it.
On pre-sales, and I haven't even. Book's not even on shelf yet, so I've been very blessed and fortunate. Thank you.
Mad Dog doing the book on tape version for you, Stephen A? You going to get him?
No, I'm not going to let Doggy do it. No, I'm going to do it myself.
Okay, good.
Myself. He's crazy, though. I love working with him.
Yeah, you can't have somebody whose English is a second language read your book like that, Stephen. You can't do that.
No. And who never gets names right, by the way. Forgets every name on the planet. Forgets the correct pronunciation for every word, every name on the planet. It's hilarious.
Oh, you guys are fun watching. Of course, I love it when Irv, you and Irv do battle. How upset will Michael Irvin be when the season ends, do you think? Or like on a
he'll be as miserable as he always does. I will give him a lot of credit for his intestinal resolve. Somehow, some way, no matter the consistent amount of years of ineptitude, the perpetual state of affairs that involves the Dallas Cowboys, somehow, some way, he's their number one cheerleader, their number one pom-pom waver. The minute they lose and they go home, give him about an hour or two, and he'll say, we're gonna win the Super Bowl next year. That's what he does. They probably get it from him, but in the end, there's no hope. We all know what's going to happen to the Cowboys ahead of time, and you'll be chronicling it throughout each Sunday on Sunday mornings, and I'll be watching because I'll be listening and looking for the nonsensical drivel that he's going to put forth out there over the national airwaves, and I'll be chronicling it all just to hold against him. I already got him on one thing. I don't know if you missed this. I don't know if you saw this. August 15th, my first day back.
Yes.
Michael Irvin sat up there and compared these upcoming Dallas Cowboys to the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Oh, man, I missed that.
Who were undefeated. He's on the record talking about if they're healthy, you watch. They might not lose a game. Those were his words. I have it on tape.
Maybe he just got confused that he was on the water and he thought he was in South Florida, Stephen A. That could have been it.
I don't give a damn what kind of confusion he was going through. I'm not going to credit him with that. I'm going to hold it against him all year long because we all know they're going to lose a few games. He's going to be wrong several times.
Well, I mean, and I know the Cowboys are popular and for many reasons, but, I mean, when you just take a look at it and their top wide receiver could be just the only wide receiver who's caught a pass of significance in their room while Michael Gallup is hurt. And you got a 40-year-old that you just signed that might be protecting your quarterback and helping your run game. That just in itself would discount a team. But I think this is the Eagles' division, Stephen A. I really do.
So, well, obviously, I think so as well. The offensive line is top notch. The acquisition of A.J. Brown to go along with Devontae Smith and Reagan, those boys, the running attack with Miles Simon and the crew. Their offensive line is clearly the best in football right now. The question mark is Jalen Hurts. But at the very least, he's a playmaker who can run with the football, extend plays, and make things happen with his feet, if not his arm. Not to mention the fact that the defense is respectable. And then you take into account the default status of the rest of the NFC least. The Giants, you got a new coach in Dable who I believe in, but Daniel Jones is a question mark. I don't even like the name of the Commodores, the Commandeers, rather, let alone the team, okay? And then on top of it all, you got the Dallas Cowboys. You're without the injured Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper's gone. Cedric Wilson is gone. Ezekiel Elliott has dissipated to some degree. Your offensive line's got injuries. I mean, it's all suspect right now. So I just think that it's the Eagles' division by default alone, and I'm very happy about it.
So are you saying it won't be easy like Sunday morning for the Commodores this Sunday? Is what you're saying, Steve?
Well, I think it is going to be easy. It is going to be easy like Sunday morning. And I'm a Lionel Richie fan, so that's not hard for me to say.
Stephen A. Smith here on the Rich Eisen Show. Who is your Super Bowl? What's your Super Bowl prediction? Have you made one on First Take yet? Because I have not seen that.
I think the Bills are coming out of the AFC.
Okay.
I think this is their time. This is their year. You know, when you consider Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen in that tandem, I think the acquisition of Von Miller helps buffer their defense to some degree. This cat Levi Wallace is no longer there. I think that might be a loss, but at the end of the day, I still think they have enough. And I think they've been knocking on the door the last couple of years. And I think that Josh Allen has a chance to win MVP, even though I think Justin Herbert probably will win it. That's just where I'm leaning towards with it. But I think Buffalo as a team is the team to beat out of the AFC. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Tom Brady found a way to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back to the Super Bowl this year. I think the familiarity of the weapons available to him, Mike Evans, with Leonard Fournette out of the backfield. The offensive line is a question mark. I get that. But I think that Julio Jones is going to be a plus as another wideout. I think people counting him out, they're forgetting that he had Ryan Tannehill throwing him the football. That might contaminate a lot of people. So I think that Julio Jones is going to be better. I think Mike Evans is going to be who he is. I think Chris Godwin eventually is going to return and he's going to be healthy enough. And I think that Cameron Brate is going to offset the loss of Rob Gronkowski to some degree. And I think the combination of those things, along with the defense expected to be better now that they're not going to be disabled by injuries. Look at the rest of the NFC. I brought up Dallas and Philly already. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the receivers necessary. Minnesota's got Kirk Cousins. We ain't going to be sold on them. In the South, you got New Orleans. Jameis Winston has a lot to prove. And in the West, you got Trey Lance as a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Unless porn star Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and he returns to action. And Russell Wilson is gone from Seattle. And Kyler Murray's got clauses in his contract asking him to be in the film room at least 4 hours a week. So I think all of those things taken into consideration bodes very, very well for Tom Brady.
Well, wouldn't you think if the Rams were named the Patriots, we'd be all over the Rams with Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson and improving their team?
I agree with that, but I think the loss of Von Miller hurts them. I think OBJ and Robert Woods being out hurts them. Even though I think Allen Robinson, I think that this is a guy that can be a stud again. We can't hold against them that Matt Nagy and Ryan Pierce was running the Chicago Bears. He still found a way to perform up until last year. I think that Allen Robinson is a big plus, and I don't mind anybody that puts the Rams as the favorites. But I think now that you got the ring and you're the Super Bowl champions, although some would say that takes the pressure off of you, I still think that enables Tom Brady and the crew to keep coming. Right now, I would give Tampa Bay the edge. I get to start the season. Yeah. You go with the Rams, but Matthew Stafford's elbow situation is questionable, and that's what has me suspect on them too.
All right, and so the last follow-up on what you just said, Stephen A. Smith, is Herbert winning the MVP or having a chance to do it. So you take the Chargers in that deep end of the NFL pool out west in the AFC? You like the Chargers to win that division?
I'm picking them to win the West. I think that as much of a stud as Patrick Mahomes is and Travis Kelce are, I think that Tyreek Hill is a tremendous loss. I don't think you just offset that. We got to make sure that Juju Smith-Schuster ain't on TikTok. We got to make sure of that. We look at McCole Hardman. Let's see what he does. In the case of the Denver Broncos, you got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and those guys. But especially Jeudy, he's got something to prove. Russell Wilson being there is an upgrade. They've got a quarterback now for the first time since Peyton Manning left. But I still think that when you look at the West, of course we can't ignore the Raiders with Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. But I got to see it to believe it, because it ain't Aaron Rodgers throwing Devontae Adams the football now. It's Derek Carr. And there's still some questions with the Raiders, particularly on the offensive line. I take all of those things into consideration. I look at what the Chargers have done to improve themselves on both sides of the football, with the stud that is Justin Herbert, who just finished throwing for 5,000 yards, with two, not one, but two $20 million a year receivers in Williams and Allen. I'm just of the mindset that this is the Chargers' year to win that division and to make a deep run into the playoffs, and that's just where I'm at with it.
First Take host, new podcast, No Mercy, with Stephen A. Smith, and his new book that's coming out, Straight Shooter, where all books can be pre-ordered right now. It's coming out in January. A few more minutes left with Stephen A. here on the Rich Eisen Show. I would be remiss if I did not ask you, because we have not spoken since Kevin Durant rescinded his trade demand and returned to the Brooklyn Nets, and the team on paper looks great, but how do you think this all works, with Kyrie opting in and then Durant opting out and then saying he wants out, and then some? I don't know how they put the genie back in the bottle, but they did. How do you think this all works with the Nets, Stephen A.?
I think the Nets could easily be the team in the Eastern Conference representing the Eastern NBA Finals. First of all, I want to applaud the Brooklyn Nets for finally doing something right as an organization. They held steady with their position on Kyrie Irving at the beginning of the season and then reneged and looked like absolute fools in doing so. They handed the franchise over to two superstars in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and that ended up being a disaster. All they've had in 3 years is one playoff series win to show for it, which is why they need to be applauded for standing their ground. Kevin Durant didn't need to go anywhere, and I was glad they kept his ass right where they did, because you signed a 4-year, $198 million extension, and before you honored one day of it, you talking about you wanting to be traded? Hell no. They got his rights without an opt for 4 years. He wants to go someplace after next season, I would oblige, assuming he gives me this season. You're going to give me something for the money I gave you. Originally, it was like $164 million, and then obviously it's $198 million. And, you're talking about $362 million that the Brooklyn Nets have invested in the great Kevin Durant, who I believe to be the best in the world, when healthy. And all they had was one playoff series victory to show for it. That is entirely unacceptable. In the case of Kyrie Irving, nobody's more incentivized to play than him. He was expecting a $212 million extension. They told him to opt in with the 1 year at $36.9 million. Okay, you got to show up to work to earn your money. He watched Bradley Beal get over $200 million, along with a couple of other cats, including Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls. Kyrie's box office. He's a superstar who should be paid like that and would have been paid like that had he had the decency to show up to work. He didn't. Now they're saying you want to get paid, you got to show up to work. And then, of course, there's Ben Simmons with his supposed mental health issues. We don't diminish the importance of mental health. We understand how important that is. But there were people who were questioning the legitimacy of that, including myself. I spoke to him privately. He convinced me that his problems were very, very real, divulged a lot of personal stuff that he did not have to, that I would never repeat out of respect for him and his privacy. But he's convinced me that he's ready to go this season. So if Ben Simmons, who was my defensive player of the year 2 years ago, is ready to go with Kyrie and KD ready to go, there's no reason why the Nets shouldn't be a favorite to come out of the East. Milwaukee will have something to say about it. Boston will have something to say about it. But the Brooklyn Nets could easily be in the NBA Finals this upcoming season if those brothers show up to work.
You're simply the best. Nobody better, Stephen A. Thanks for the time. I'll look for your tweets on Sundays, as always, and look for my call in the meantime. Susie sends her best. Congrats on the book in advance. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Love you, man. Talk to you later.
Right back at you. The one and only Stephen A. Smith here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Go Cowboys.
He's off the phone.
He heard it.
He didn't hear that.
He heard it. He heard that.
All right. I got to now take a break, so we're on time for Von Miller, and text the gang of Game Day Morning to clip Stephen A.'s message to play for Irv on tonight's show.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Number one Cowboys fan, Stephen A. Smith.
You know what? He's definitely paying attention.
Good for business either way.
That's right. Let's take a break. Let's be on time for Von Miller, who's stepping off the practice field in Buffalo before he steps on a plane to come out here to L.A. to start the season in 2 nights. What is the furthest you've ever thrown a football, Josh?
The furthest was in Wyoming, so I did get a little assistance from the elevation.
Yes.
But it was right around 83 yards.
Right,
Yeah.
right around 83.
Yeah.
Are we rounding up or are we rounding down to the 83, Josh?
We were probably rounding up just a little bit, but yeah, 83 was that was the number.
So I don't know. I'm looking up to see if you're playing in Denver at all, so you can play. You can get a little bit of some altitude. Can you do that in an NFL game, you think?
I mean, there was one game, I think it was my rookie year against the Dolphins. I threw a ball dang near as hard as I can, and my receiver was 60, 70 yards downfield, and I overthrew him just by a little bit. But,
you airmailed him.
I did, and that was just one of those, like, I didn't feel like I threw it as hard as I could, but my hip fired so hot, and it just came out of my hand extremely well, and it was spinning, and it was a little warm in Miami, so it might have flown a little farther, but it was just one of those that just kind of even blew me off guard. So something I've toned down a little bit, though, and I feel like I've got a little more control on my ball right now.
Oh, understood. No, accuracy is something that you definitely have improved on, as we have seen. So let's just walk me through this at some point during a game in your career. Let's just say it could even happen this weekend against New England, where you have to throw a Hail Mary to win it. At what yardage do you say to your coach, I still got this? Give it to me. Your own what? Your own what?
We're like, I know I can get the ball in the air and get it probably a good 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone, probably around the 35.
Your own 35?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, you're probably going to have to avoid a rush a little bit, even if they're coming at you with 3-man. You're going to have to roll out a little bit. So right around your own 30-something yard line, you can get it in there. You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Unbelievable. Josh Allen and the Bills getting set to kick off the season on NBC. Just up the road from us here in Los Angeles on Thursday night. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Von Miller has just stepped off the practice field, and I have just received a new cup of coffee. Just went back there and did it. See, can you see the steam coming from it?
Oh, look at it. There's a little steam.
Can you see the steam coming from it on YouTube? Can they see the steam on YouTube?
We've got steam.
You see it?
I don't know.
Oh, Rich.
Got to be careful. Got to be careful because it's full, it's hot, and the French blue can't have a stain on it.
Yeah.
Well, you're not wearing it later on NFL Network.
Yeah, but I can't. I've got another hour and a half for the show to go.
Really bad recently with the stains.
Me?
Well, you've been spilling a lot lately.
Yeah, me and Brockman have talked about it more than once.
Have you really?
Yes.
We've
discussed
the eye in the sky's been noticing what I'm up to.
A little sloppy. Just clean it up.
Okay. I'll accept it. I'll allow it. Von is getting set to join us. He's taking care of business right now. Apparently.
Number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Oh, well, just a question.
Von is, you know what? Von first appeared on this program with Jim Gaffigan. Remember they were on the show at the same time?
I do.
And Gaffigan wore like the ice that Von was wearing.
Von had this very nice, and I'm sure not cheap, chain in the back, but he didn't wear it out because he was a little embarrassed.
That's right.
And then
so
Gaffigan was in the back waiting.
He came out and he was wearing it.
He wore it out.
That's right.
I have that. I bet I have that photo somewhere.
Oh my gosh, Von, one of our all-time faves, man. One of our all-time favorites. Okay, is he on the phone line right now? I do believe he is. Okay, he's one of my all-time. By the way, I just wanted to let it be known. I said he was one of my all-time favorites before he was on hold. Hearing that,
that's true.
Year 12 for the guy who was John Elway's first draft choice in Denver, coming off of a championship here in Los Angeles, California, getting set to take on the Rams in 2 nights. On Thursday night. It's going to be amazing. He is one of the all-time greats, getting set, maybe getting fitted for a jacket. Canton, Ohio as well. Of the Buffalo Bills, Von Miller on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. How you doing, Von?
How's it going, guys? Thanks, Rich. I appreciate you, man. I always enjoy being on the show, and I just appreciate you guys for having me again.
We feel this. I feel the same exact way. Are you getting on a plane today? Was that how this is working? When do you get out here?
No, we on the East Coast, so we can leave tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And have enough time to get ready.
What's going through your mind as you're coming out here to the spot where you won a championship to take on the team you won a championship with? What's going in that brain of yours, Vaughn?
So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I'm big with visualizing big moments like this in my life. I do it. I did it for a Super Bowl and for both Super Bowls and, all the playoff games and just big games during my career. And I think about the stadium, I think about any interaction that I can have, like with the players on the other team, how I want to play, how I want to lead my teammates. And, all I've been thinking about is just, staying kind of even keel, trying to keep my emotions in check. I love those guys over there. I love everybody over there. They came in and got me at a very crucial moment in my career. And it's nothing but love for the whole city of L.A. and the whole Rams organization, Coach McVay, Aaron Donald, Les Snead, Reggie in the training room, and Mark, and Brandon Berg, and Henny, the D-line coach, and Rod, the DC, man. Everybody, they showed me so much love. Jalen Ramsey, man, all of those guys, man. Everybody in L.A. is so much love for the whole city. And, it's just like playing against your brother in, like, Madden. You love your brother. You love your brother, y'all family. But when it's time to play, you want to win, and that's just where I'm at with it.
Have you gotten your ring yet, Vaughn?
Yeah, I got my ring, and I was at the ring ceremony.
You were.
So I went to the ring ceremony. That was my last day on the team with the Rams, and it was just so much love, man. Just being there with all those guys, man. And I really enjoyed my time there, and I hate being reminded that. I could have went back and all of that stuff, man. I just want to, keep my head down and be a Buffalo Bill. But, L.A. was just so good to me, the whole city, man. And, I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, I mean, my crack staff, the great Rich Eisen Show crew, put up the photograph of you wearing your ring your new ring. Can you fit the Broncos ring that was on your index finger inside the new ring? Does it fit inside there, Vaughn?
Yeah, you probably can. And if you remember when the Broncos had their Super Bowl ring, we had the biggest Super Bowl ring in the history of the NFL. So you see what the Rams ring is. It's the biggest championship ring in all of sports. So it just keeps bigger. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And that's what championships are supposed to be. You're supposed to, and you're supposed to just. And you're supposed to capture that moment. You're supposed to capture that year. And it was a big year for the Rams organization. It was a big year for all of us, and that's exactly what they did with the ring.
Well, Vaughn, I know you're new to your new digs, relatively new to your new digs still, but do you get the sense of what it would mean if you could add another one to your hand and thus put one on the hand of the famed Bills Mafia? Do you get a sense of what that would mean, Vaughn, already?
Yeah, it means so much. You don't want to look too far ahead, but at the same time, you got to have goals. And, that was a huge reason for me coming here to the Buffalo Bills. If I wouldn't be the first guy to play in 3 Super Bowls and win 3 Super Bowls, I could have just, stayed with the Rams and just rode off into the sunset with Aaron Donald and just, lived in L.A. and, just enjoyed, my years before retirement. But I still felt like I had more to do, and I felt like, the Buffalo Bills gave me that chance. I wouldn't be able to win 3 Super Bowls with 3 different teams if I would have stayed with the Rams. So it was a tough decision to come over here. We got a great team over here. We got a great quarterback, great coaching staff. This locker room is incredible. Every Super Bowl team that I've been on, the locker room and the teammates that I've had have all been tremendous. Super Bowl teams are always player led. And this team has some similarities to the Super Bowl teams that I've been on.
That was going to be my next question, Von Miller, because you know what it takes to win a championship. You've been around championship teams, and you're around the Bills at an interesting time, Von, because the level of expectation for this Bills team is through the roof. And I'm wondering what you see there that gives you the confidence that pressure could be shouldered properly in Buffalo.
Yeah, pressure is a privilege. And to play this game so many years, I've always had pressure with the Broncos. We came from that's a championship organization. If you're not going to a Super Bowl, after seeing John Elway and Terrell Davis, Rod Smith, all these guys do big things. If you're not going to the Super Bowl or playing in big time games, that's the expectation in Denver every single year. I don't care what the year before. What you did the year before, every single year it's about the Super Bowl. And going to the Rams, it was all about the Super Bowl. It was about helping Aaron Donald win a Super Bowl, getting Coach McVay over the hump and getting him a Super Bowl, and Matthew Stafford getting all these guys a Super Bowl. It was about the Super Bowl when I went to the Rams. And we have some of those same type pressures here. Back in the golden days, he lost 4 Super Bowls straight, and this community is really fiending for one. And, we got a lot of similarities in the Super Bowl teams that I've been on. We still got to go out there and play, but, that's always the main goal.
Well, I mean, Peyton, obviously, just like Stafford, coming from a spot where his entire career was part of his identity for that team in that city, and then going to a new spot and trying to win it in his first year there. Obviously, for Peyton, it took a couple of Super Bowl cracks, but he finally, with you winning the MVP of Super Bowl 50, broke through. Josh Allen's a totally different story. He is an ascending superstar in this league and a guy who could run for mayor and win on the spot there in Buffalo, New York. What have you seen from him that makes you know, outside of having played and seen him, that he's special? Vaughn, you got a story for me on that front?
Yeah, I mean, Josh, first and foremost, he doesn't take anything serious. Like it's not like of course, we're out on the football field. He's trying to win, but his confidence level, is just amazing to be around. It's not one of these. It's not the feeling that you're overly confident or you're cocky, anything like that. He just believes in his guys. He believes in his skill set. He believes in his skill set where he's at in his career right now. And he's a fun guy to be around. Doesn't take anything serious. He talks with this little light voice, man. It's just fun to be around. And I think the team and this organization just kind of follow lead. They just kind of follow Josh's lead, we got a great defense over here as well. They've been great for a very long time. Coach Frazier and Coach Washington and all these guys, they draw up great schemes every single year. We got great players on both sides of the ball, and we just got to go out. We just got to go out there and play. I really enjoy being here. I was kind of shaky when I signed here in March. Coach McDermott had told me that, man, I learned to love this place, and he wasn't lying to me. Of course, when you see Buffalo on paper and it's cold and stuff and all that stuff here, but here being around the people here in the community and all the people that live and breathe Buffalo football and my teammates and the training staff and the equipment managers and the infrastructure of the team, everybody's just a delight to be around, and they really make up for whatever negative dashes Buffalo could have. Like, the people here really make up for all of that stuff, man. And I'm enjoying being here, man. Looking forward to a great season.
Von Miller here on the Rich Eisen Show. A couple more minutes left with him. Let's talk about you a little bit, Von. What is it like to be the OG, walking in the locker room, being that guy now in year 12? What's that like for you, Von?
It's cool because I don't feel 33 at all. And when I watch the film, in my opinion, I don't look 33.
Mm-hmm.
But just being around the guys, like, it's just something, like, you get the jokes and being in the locker room and you hear conversations. That's when I feel like 33. To me,
are they making? Hold on a minute. Are they making like music references, show references, social media references?
That are music. It's the music. It's just little stuff like that. It's not really, it really doesn't have anything to do with football.
Yeah.
But that's just when I feel when I'm around the young guys and you just hear the jokes and the priorities are just different. Me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here and it's all about winning. It's all about coming in here, getting the most out of my team, getting the most out of my teammates, trying to be the best leader I could possibly be. And I wouldn't say it's a work mentality because I honestly feel like I haven't worked a day in my life. It's just I enjoy being here. I enjoy winning, and that's what it's all about for me. I'm all about like trying to get the most out of my teammates, trying to get them in a positive mindset, trying to uplift everybody and have everybody ready for Thursday or Sunday or whatever they may be. And some guys' priorities are just different. You got guys playing Call of Duty and other stuff. Even though I occasionally play, video games and stuff, it's just the priorities for me is, I want to win a Super Bowl, and it's constantly on my mind 24/7. And it's like this obsession where I can't even just the kid that like the young guy jokes. It just goes over my head. But that's really the only time where I feel my age. But other than that, man, it's been a joy to be here.
But it's not just that, Von. I'm hearing that your addition to Buffalo isn't just going to show up on the field, and the importance of your addition to Buffalo isn't about the on the field either. It's you kind of being the football whisperer for the young up and comers, for the really talented players that are in your locker room, certainly on defense. And, just remembering when you got drafted and hearing, DeMarcus Ware kind of be that guy for you, him telling me those stories, Rod Woodson telling me some stories, too, about that. I just find it amazing you're kind of in that role now in your career.
It's all the little quotes and the one-liners that I tell all these guys, man, I get it from DeMarcus or I get it from Peyton. I get it from guys that made all these great speeches throughout my career, the Brian Dawkins speeches, the Tim Tebow speeches, and the Champ Bailey speeches. All the greats that I've ever been around, like all the information that they gave me, I'm just paying it forward to these guys. And it's not all about football. It could be about, it could be about finances, or it could be about cooking or a chef, or it's like the little things that everybody asks me about. Like, how do you do this? How do you recover? And I really enjoy being in that position too, because I tell these guys things that I wish people would have told me. I'm not telling them necessarily the stuff that I was doing when I was their age.
Sure.
I tell them the stuff that I feel like that I should have been doing at that age. And it's good to just talk to Greg Rousseau, and I'm talking to him about something, and I tell him something, he just lights up. Like, it's just like I just gave him a cheat code. Or if I'm talking to AJ Espinosa and we're talking about something on the football field, and I tell him something, you could just see them just like capture that information, and they just hold on to it. And I really enjoy being in that position, so I can get these guys all the information that DeMarcus gave me, and down the future they can do the same.
Von Miller, I love chatting with you. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you and that whole community and the team. It's right there in front of you, and it starts in L.A. in 2 nights. I would run through a wall right now. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Seriously.
Hey, I appreciate you, Rich, man. It's always been a joy, man. I appreciate you guys having. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, I'll be right back here for you guys mid-season.
Okay, great. Look for my call. As always, Vaughn, you're the best. Appreciate the time now. Have safe travel and have a great time. Soak it in on Thursday night and beyond. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Right back at you. That's Von Miller right here on the Rich Eisen Show for the Buffalo Bills. I'm telling you, man, he was so talented, obviously, coming out of Texas A&M. And the stories I heard, he was young and didn't know what he didn't know. And DeMarcus Ware he kind of took him aside.
Mm-hmm.
He would text him. Like, he would get a text from him at like 1 a.m. And his answer was like, what are you doing up?
Just go to bed.
Go to bed.
Go to bed.
Seriously. And now he's the go-to-bed guy.
Yep. That's how it goes, man.
Gosh. And how important that is for a team. It really is. What an addition. Been there, done that. Okay, you've had trouble closing. Who's a better closer than Von Miller? Man, if he stays healthy and that team stays healthy, it's all about the expectation level. Game 1, Rams. Can you put up the Bills, please? Just one more time here. I'm sure Hoskins has it on, speed dial up there. He's the resident Bills honk here.
Memorized.
Mr. Western New York of the Rich Eisen Show. Just put it up there. Okay. Look at all the asterisks on the screen. What does that mean? Those are nationally televised games. And not even the one that's Thanksgiving. Again, Bills are on Thanksgiving again. Okay, we're going to see it all. A game at Kansas City is not prime time. That's going to be a, if you will, primetime game. At Baltimore will be just the Donnybrook. The primetime games are the first 2. They're the first Thursday night and the second Monday night of the season. Okay. Christmas Eve at the Bears. The Monday nighter, first Monday nighter of 2023 is at Cincinnati. Here we go. All the New England games, that's a Thursday nighter, but that's the full complement of rest because both New England and Buffalo play on Thanksgiving the night before. I mean, here we go. It's just going to be so much fun. The Miami games are going to be great.
17-0?
Nah, no. I mean, I don't know who's going to ever do that again. Honestly, it's still so any given Sunday or Thursday or whatever.
They have tough road games.
Play seriously. There's international games. There's all sorts of travel. There's injuries. There's everything. But they're really good. They're the best team in the AFC. I think that's a given. That's a given. And I'm not going to, that's a given. And I know a lot of people are going to zig instead of, when everyone's zagging when they're Super Bowl picks. I'll give you a heads up. I'm not. When it comes to the AFC. I'm going back and forth about betting against Brady again. I can't do it. Let's take a break. Mike Tomlin has spoken. He is named a starter for Week 1, 5 days from now at Cincinnati, Ohio. And college football. As soon as we went off the air, they're like, hey, how about a 12-team playoff? We've been pounding that table for quite some time. I'll tell you my 2 cents on that in the college football weekend. Chris Brockman's Overreaction Monday and Martin Kove of Cobra Kai in studio. Still to come.
Because it's high on my damn agenda.
Larry David, you are now the new commissioner of the National Football League.
Really?
Yes, congratulations.
Are you kidding?
There you go. Congratulations.
This is a dream, okay? I'll quit Curb Your Enthusiasm in a second if this is true.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you do first as the commissioner of the National Football League, Larry David?
Number one, and I really don't care if people like it or not, I'm losing the goalpost. Why are there goalposts?
Okay.
Why are kickers, okay, they don't have football skills. They're not football players. I'm sure they're wonderful people, but they're not football players. Why are they kicking a ball through goalposts to decide games? It doesn't make any sense at all. First of all, goalposts are a relic from the old English rugby, I think.
Okay.
You know, when they used to actually run and kick a ball through goalposts. But they don't do that in the NFL. There's no need for goalposts. What? Wouldn't the game be better without them? Think about it. Why not just have leaping frogs to decide games? See if a frog can leap through a little goalpost that you set up, okay, on the floor, and if the frog can leap through the goalpost, then do that. What? Why kick it through a goalpost?
Well, it's not called leaping frog ball. It's called football. So you're saying take the feet out of footballs? Is that what you're saying, Larry? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Why? Feet are deciding games, and they shouldn't. Why should one player with this skill, like the guy on the Ravens,
Justin Tucker, yeah.
Why should this one player who does nothing but kick a ball be deciding games when you have 52 other players who are actually playing, and this one person, this 53rd person, is deciding games? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I love all of Larry David's appearances right here on our YouTube page. When you become a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, life gets better. One big thing that gets better, buying a car, something that TJ could not win. See, Navy Federal created a fully loaded car buying experience where you can finance, buy, protect, and enjoy your auto purchase all from one convenient place. They offer great auto loan rates, too. And your pre-approval is good for 90 days, so you know what you can afford while you shop. You can even shop for new and used cars with Navy Federal's car buying service powered by TrueCar. Also, you can get exclusive member savings with Carfax, Sirius XM, and more. And because it's Navy Federal, they're always available with 24/7 member service representatives to answer any questions. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/car buying. That's NavyFederal.org/car buying. Credit and collateral subject to approval. Navy Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. TJ had no idea who would take shrapnel during the Navy Federal read right there.
I don't think anyone paid attention.
By the way, The Price is
Right
Right turned 50 over the weekend. Do you know that?
Yeah. Wow. I watched it.
On Saturday, it was their, or Saturday or Sunday, it was Sunday, was the 50th anniversary of the moment Bob Barker came out and asked someone to come on down. Well, that was Johnny O, actually. Johnny Olson was the one who said Johnny could come on down.
They gave away a bunch of cars.
Dude, all I know is I watched The Price is Right so much in college that I knew that when Bob and somebody came out of contestants row and he did not move from his spot. You know, he'd always stand on the spot and, you know, stand there and people would bid on things. And he would then, you know, when they came up from contestants row, move to another spot of the stage for a pricing game. I knew that if he stayed on his mark, the person was going to win a brand new car or have an opportunity to win a brand new car. Because he always liked to say, you could win this and move it and then point to the side and then boom, there's the brand new car. That's how into the game I was, man.
Yeah.
Man. That's why I also knew for you to take the middle key back in the day, brother.
You didn't know because you've never seen that game. Get
Master
out of here.
Key. I even said it's a rare game. The minute I saw it, I said that's a rare game.
It's a rare game.
And you confirmed it, that you said you were watching to prepare for your appearance for months and you never saw it once.
Film study.
I told you somebody.
Yeah, film study. You couldn't. The film study was out. Can you imagine you study all the film and then it's time for game
And they pull out Philly.
game preparation. Boom.
That's what you
Here
got.
comes Philly.
Yeah,
We never saw this play.
Nope.
Someone on YouTube last year left a comment that they looked and saw that Master Key was in the bottom third of every game played. Price is Right.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. You know, it's also unfortunate.
Unfortunate. It was great.
You know, it's also speaking of unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate. LSU was unfortunate.
Oh, man.
Florida State played a hell of a football game. That was the game of the weekend, right? Wasn't it? Because Ohio State, Notre Dame,
Florida, Utah was really good.
That was good. where Utah had a chance to tie it but decided to win it, and then Florida picked off Utah in the end zone. That was the end of that one.
That cost me.
Boy, that's a long trip. That's a long trip from the Mountain Time Zone just to. I think the last it was the reverse to go from Florida to the Mountain Time Zone all that way just to get an axe in the chest at the end was The Shining. I think it was Scatman Crothers in The Shining went from Florida to the Mountain Time Zone, take an axe in the chest at the end. Utah did the reverse, went from the Mountain Time Zone all the way.
And Utah blew inside the one in the first half, so they really left a lot of points on the board.
But Florida State had a remarkable flea flicker work, right?
Yep.
And LSU was just getting pounded, but then came back and had an opportunity to come back because Florida State fumbled it going in to just wrap the game up.
It was so ridiculous. Dude,
I'm like, what are you doing?
It's a pitch out. The game's over.
The game's over.
Like, the ball should have never left the quarterback's hands.
Why don't you just take knees and then kick the field goal?
Yes.
So you give LSU a chance. Of course they march all the way down the field. Of course they score with no time left. And of course they got the extra point blocked.
That was crazy.
Extra point blocked.
Did LSU bring Green Bay's special teams coach from last year? Did Brian Kelly do that?
Nice.
Bring part of his new family? Nice. Well, and by the way, what the hate, I understand there's a lot of SEC hate for LSU from various parts of the country. But, man, the pile-on that happened on Brian Kelly on Sunday night.
Wait for Overreaction Monday.
The pile-on Brian Kelly. What is that? Is that the Notre Dame hate towards him, or they think he's fugazi and the dancing and the family and all that business?
Yes, all of the above.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say that's probably
that
accurate.
He bolted on Notre Dame and
the dancing with recruits was really weird. And the fake accents.
Honestly, the pile-on that happened on top of Brian Kelly throughout the game and then when LSU lost. Joe Tessitore has the Gus Johnson in him too, doesn't he? Like,
Joe Tessa's games
go
weird,
nuts.
Get haywire.
God bless it. If you have that, you've got that ability as an announcer not only to meet the moment, but for some reason the football gods decide to bestow upon you games like that. And Notre Dame versus Ohio State I was looking forward to that game all week. It really wasn't that great.
No, kind of a dud.
It was a bit of a dud.
I mean, shout out to Notre Dame for playing really hard for the first half and then just couldn't get any offense going.
The minute Notre Dame ran a called quarterback run on 3rd and long in the red zone in their first possession, the minute they're like, we'll settle for 3, we'll get out of here with 3, I'm like, you're making and Marcus Freeman should know that. You're making a major mistake. You put 7s on the board in the horseshoe. You got to. And those 4 points meant the world later on. My boy Breer, he was in mid-season form, tweeting out, we're going to win by 100. Only 89 points off. He's in mid-season form, right? You know who's in mid-season form or postseason form? Your Georgia Bulldogs. Holy crap.
Well, they're not mine, but.
They are.
Oh.
You went to Atlanta, didn't you? You went there?
Yes.
Didn't you go to Atlanta?
I didn't
hold on a minute. You spent your Labor Day weekend on a plane
to go see a Georgia football game. I didn't go by myself.
I understand that. I understand that. The most important person of your nuclear household
leave my house behind
Georgia
and go to the game.
By the way, congrats to Sarah on the gig with CBS Sports. Yeah. I was so excited to see that.
Thank you. She's actually got a second one. She's doing stuff with Amazon, Prime Video, NFL as well this fall.
That's great.
Yeah. Should be real exciting.
That's great.
We had a great time. We drank a little too much. We were also sitting in the organ section. So the people around us.
So it was quiet.
So it was quiet. We were making a lot of noise.
Oh, man. I mean, Oregon fans got to be like, last year we went to the horseshoe. We beat Ohio State. We got this one. Yeah. We got this one. We can get Georgia. They can't be as good as last year. And then they started playing.
There's good. 7 touchdowns
what's the name
on
of
the
that
first
defensive lineman who threw an offensive lineman out of the club? Did you see that video? I forget. There were 2 pieces of video that went viral on my timeline. That 6'7" tight end leapfrogging people, jumping over people. Yeah. And then whoever's taken, I think, Jordan Davis's spot threw someone out of the club. Holy crap.
Yeah, Darnell Washington is the tight end there, along with Brock Bowers.
I know. He's not even the best one on the team.
Not even the best one on the team.
And Stetson Bennett the 4th. Is he the 4th or the 3rd?
He's the 4th.
The 4th. Stetson Bennett the 4th. is really good at football.
Really good at football.
And he's either going to, there's two choices for him. Stetson Bennett IV will either A, somehow keep this thing going and get drafted and have a career, okay, where everyone thinks that he doesn't, or B, he's going to have the greatest photographs on the wall of a hedge fund manager in the history of hedge fund managing. Right? You're going to walk into Stetson Bennett's office, and you're just going to see trophies and photographs of whatever hedge fund he's going to run.
Yep.
Or he's going to have a pro career.
Stetson Heisman IV.
Stetson. Is that the nickname? Did you just come up with that?
I tweeted that out on Saturday.
Stetson Heisman IV.
He only had 6 incompletions. Half of those were throwaways, and he had 360 yards.
And by the way, all the craziness of the preseason, we'd throw that out the window. Georgia's number 2 now.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
That's it. It's Alabama and Georgia, and then the rest of us will just try and hope for the best.
Wait for overreaction, please.
That's coming up. So 5 days to kick off of the first NFL Sunday, and the coyness of Mike Tomlin is over. He had his press conference leading up to Steelers at Bengals. And as expected, certainly when it came out over the weekend that Mitchell Trubisky was voted a captain, go figure that. They made him a captain. So he's a captain. You're not going to bench your captain. He is, in fact, starting. This is Mike Tomlin earlier today.
Mitch Trubisky is our starting quarterback and our captain. Man, we're just really comfortable with what Mitch has shown us. He's a guy that came to us with franchise quarterback experience, if you will. He's comfortable in those shoes. He's been the focal point of a football team in an organization before. He's had success in doing so. Like I mentioned when we acquired him, he took the Bears to the playoffs 2 out of 4 years. He has a winning record as a starting quarterback. Those things were attractive to us. His athleticism and mobility were attractive to us. He took care of the football in stadium. All our quarterbacks did, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. It's good to come to decisions based on what people are doing as opposed to what people are not doing.
And, you texted in our Rich Eisen show inter-office text chain the news. I forget which one of you guys you texted it amongst the group, that it was Trubisky 1, Mason Rudolph 2, and Kenny Pickett 3 on the depth chart over the weekend. That, and I'm like, that makes sense because Cincinnati you can't start the rookie in Cincinnati. You can't. And so I'm like, it makes sense because if Trubisky gets hurt, you need an old hand like Mason Rudolph at the controls. Well, it's now Pickett, number 2 in the depth chart, and Tomlin was asked about that.
Really pleased with the growth and development of Kenny. That's why he's listed as number 2. I thought his acceleration of development really took off once we stepped into stadiums and once we start stepping into stadiums. His decision-making, the fluidity of it, his competitive spirit, his pinpoint accuracy, all of those things I thought really came to the forefront once we started coming into stadiums, and I thought that he grew and grew at a really fast pace once we got into stadiums. And I also think it's reasonable to expect that growth and development to continue as we push into the regular season. We're excited about where he is and in the ground that he's covered to this point and the ground that he's going to continue to cover. As we find our regular season rhythm, he gains an understanding of what that is, what preparation is like, what the rhythm of a 7-day process is like in terms of getting ready for regular season ball and so forth. Just really excited about where he is and what he's capable of.
Fascinating stuff out of the Steelers. Hour 3 coming up on our radio side. Here on our YouTube stream, though, I just wanted to say Pickett's going to start, guys. I think he's going to be the first guy to start. I think it makes sense not to start him at Cincinnati. That is a tough spot. And then home against New England. Opening up Acrisure against New England. Yeah. Belichick eats rookie quarterbacks making their first career home starts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Keep him away from him. You look at the schedule, and maybe, just maybe, there's a mini bye after the Cleveland game before the Jets. If Trubisky struggles, that's where you see Pickett. Home for the Jets.
They're going to be 3-1 going to Buffalo. I think Mitch is fine.
And then Mitch goes back to Buffalo and they're fine. There's a bye week as well.
Maybe after the bye.
Pickett's 2 for a reason, though, man.
That's a little bit. That's a little tough stretch at Buffalo, Tampa, at Miami, at Philly.
It's all a tough stretch because on the back end, you got home for New Orleans, then you got another Cincinnati and Indianapolis. I think they're going to win the South. Baltimore's no joke. I mean, the whole schedule's not a joke. But Pickett being number 2 is there for a reason. He's there for a reason, and that's because he's going to push Trubisky, and if Trubisky falters, you're going to see, how about this? Here's my prediction. You'll see Pickett start a game before Jimmy G if everybody stays healthy. That might be your old hot take there.
Pickett, Jimmy G, or Ritter, who starts first?
I'll take Pickett. I'll take Pickett. He's number 2 for a reason, I think. And they're really high on him, but not high enough to just throw him into the jungle, if you will, week 1. Martin Kove coming up in studio.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Very bad. Still Joe Bruce wrong.
Like I'm a clown, I amuse you. That sounds kind of crazy.
In Switzerland, it's illegal to own only one guinea pig because they are prone to loneliness.
Throw deep, baby.
There are a lot of buttons over.
What did you do with Ted?
Over here. No. Hey. Now you got it.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Anybody who bets Michigan football in the first week of the season is an idiot.
Touchdown, J.J. McCarthy. The Wolverines lead it.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles. Earlier on the show, 28-time Emmy Award winner Bob Costas, host of ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith, Bills linebacker Von Miller. Coming up from Netflix's Cobra Kai, actor Martin Kove. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Yes, it is. Hour number 3 of the Rich Eisen Show is on the air. Man, if we had a great show already for the first 2 hours with Bob Costas, Stephen A. Smith, and Von Miller having called into the program. If you missed any of it, it's right here on our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, which is for the moment, in this month where we're migrating to the Roku channel, this is how you can watch us every day right here on our YouTube stream. Almost 500,000 subscribers. I'm now rounding up from the almost 460,000. I mean, I just rounded up a lot.
You rounded up a lot.
I did what my dad used to do. He used to round up when it was beneficial to him, my age, and then round down when it was beneficial to him. Right. If I wasn't acting my age, you were almost 12. And I was like 11 and a quarter. And then I asked to do something that was beyond my age. You're barely 11. Like, that's what my dad used to do. And I caught on after a while.
That's a good dad move. I mean, I can't wait.
Put that in your arsenal.
I mean, I got it. I can't wait. I can't wait to
I just rounded up to the Rich Eisen Show's benefit. Martin Kove is on this program. We are jacked up, man. Cobra Kai Season 5. Season 5 of the television sequel of the great Karate Kid movies. He enters our dojo. Do we say that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Season 5 of Cobra Kai available for streaming this Friday. Of course, he plays the great John Kreese in this movie. He will attempt to sweep the leg. We got a great celebrity true or false from Martin coming up. We'll talk Karate Kid and Cobra Kai and more. But maybe a little bit of Rambo.
Yeah, absolutely.
First Blood Part 2.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
First Blood Part 2. That doesn't make sense. Second Blood.
Why wouldn't they go Rambo Second Blood?
Just Second Blood.
That had to be a very distinct decision-making choice. Don't overthink it. Second Blood.
Don't
Second Blood.
overthink it. First Blood Part 2.
No, bleeds again?
Huh?
Could have been bleeds again.
Rambo bleeds again?
Bleeds again.
Mike,
that sounds like a bad Herbie the Love Bug movie.
We just throwing it out there.
Herbie rides again.
Second
You can't
Blood,
Rambo bleeds again.
Rambo
TJ, you're awful quiet in this nonsensical conversation.
I don't want to add more nonsense to the nonsense. So.
Nonsense on top of nonsense.
No, I was just thinking, I told you guys that this is my anniversary of leaving Pittsburgh, and I remember one of the first people I remember seeing, the first celebrities, I was somewhere in the Valley. It had to be early 2000, and that's where Martin Kove drove by me on Lancashire or something, and I swear a Trans Am or a Corvette, and I was just like, was that? Yes, it was. It was just one of those times you first get to town and you see someone famous and it bugs you out a little bit. And I remember he was one of those.
I'll tell this story. I've told this story before, and it kind of dovetails because Martin Kove has been on the Rockford Files. So, when Susie was doing USC and playing, covering USC and covering the Angels and covering the Lakers and all that, and I was on SportsCenter, I would come out here just to hang out while she was working, and I would take some time off just to continue a long distance relationship.
Come out to the coast.
Anyway, so she set me up. She set me up at Bel Air Country Club.
Oh, fancy.
Okay. I think through her UCLA connections, right? Because it's right there in Westwood. Like, you tee off the first hole at Bel Air, and you're teeing off right into the campus of UCLA. But at any rate, I just thought to myself, wow, here I am, a Staten Island kid playing at Bel Air Country Club. I had no business, and I was nervous off the first tee, and I always slice, and I sliced it right off the first tee into the 18th fairway, okay, which is separated by this line of trees at the time. Yeah. And so I sliced it, and I just thought to myself as I sliced it into the 18th fairway, I thought to myself, will I see someone famous here? It really crossed my mind as I'm like, is it possible I could run into somebody very famous here? Because I saw the faces of the members on the wall, and I recognized a few of them. I saw Vin Scully on the wall. I'm like, could I see Vin here today?
That would be amazing.
So I'm on the 18th fairway getting set to play my golf ball, and all of a sudden, have I told you this story? I think I've told you this story.
Before, yeah,
whizzing up in a golf cart are Mac Davis and James Garner. Okay. Just as I'm thinking to myself, is it possible I could see someone famous? Mac Davis and James Garner.
Mac Davis.
And James Garner has got a golf ball in between his thumb and his forefinger, and he is angry. And he says to me, "Is this your golf ball?" And I'm like, "No, actually, that's my golf ball." I pointed down at my feet in the middle of the fairway he's playing. And I'm like, "That's my golf ball." He goes, "All right, because somebody's playing my effing ball," and zooms off. And I thought to myself, that is the greatest thing ever. I'm wondering, am I going to see someone famous? I not only saw someone famous, I saw two famous people playing golf together.
And
he accused me of playing the wrong golf ball, playing his. He was pissed. He was angry.
Man.
Amazing. That was my introduction to LA. Was that really? Oh, I knew it was them.
Golf makes you angry.
Especially when you're...
Oh, my God. I feel for whoever wrongly played Jim Rockford's golf ball.
Wow.
Damn. That was amazing.
Jim Rockford's golf ball, too late?
It's too late. It's too late. We have to close
We
up
really
shop
need
on
to
our,
narrow
on
this
our
down,
fantasy
by the
names.
way.
We'll do that over the next week or two. Promise you. All right. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. It's a Monday. It's NFL Week 1. It's a Tuesday. My bad.
It's Tuesday.
It's the first day of an NFL week. Yeah. All right. Hit it, Chris Brockman. Overreaction Monday/Tuesday. Hit it, please.
That was terrible. That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction.
Can we calm down?
Tuesday.
All right. Very good. I like it. I like it. Very day specific.
I don't want to calm down, to be honest. Hey, let's go news of the day, guys. Let's get right to it. Mitch Trubisky's going to lead the Steelers back to the playoffs.
False. Overreaction. Overreaction.
He's a captain. He's not getting benched.
I know. Look, man, it's a smart move. He's clearly, winning over the locker room or has won over the locker room. We just need to see. That's what's beautiful about the NFL and the NFL season is you never know. Tonight on NFL Network, I will be 2 seats away from the personification of you never know. In other words, we're skipping right over Mooch and we're landing on Kurt.
Right.
All right? So you never know. Mitchell Trubisky has a shot to be a starting quarterback in the NFL once again. Who'd have thunk it? After he lands in Buffalo as the only thing that he could land as in the NFL at the point in time, a backup quarterback. So he's a captain. He's going to get a shot. I do not, I hope to be wrong for his sake and the Steelers' sake. I just think that is an overreaction, Chris. This is the Bengals division, and the Steelers are not going to make the playoffs even. I think they could still be above 500, but in this AFC where 10 wins may not even be enough, I think the Steelers don't make the playoffs. I'm even, tonight, preview, putting them out, and you'll see who I put in on NFL Network in that segment of our season preview show where you have to take one out and put one in. I say that's an overreaction, sir. What's next?
How many hours away, TJ? We're like 55 hours from
54.
football. Oh, my gosh. I just can't wait. Bills, Rams, it's SoFi, a Super Bowl preview possible.
Yes, sir.
But you know what? It's not the defending champs with all the pressure. The Bills have more pressure on them this year than the Rams.
False. False.
In what way? They're the Super Bowl favorite. The quarterback is the betting favorite for MVP.
If you're putting it right here, more pressure on them than the Rams, yes, that's true. I don't think they've got a lot of pressure on them. I think they're going to handle it very well.
You just think pressure doesn't exist? You
It's
don't
privilege.
think Aaron Rodgers has pressure? No pressure on Dak, the Bill? Like, what is going on?
Dak called it privilege last week.
Yeah.
Earlier in hour number 2, I asked Vaughn about
He
that
said the
pressure.
same thing.
So should we read just through the graphic? The Rams, the Bills have all the privilege on them this year? They're the favorite in everything. What have they won?
I just think, how about this? Of course there's pressure on them. The level of expectation for the Bills is its highest since the 90s.
Crazy.
Okay? Since the dynastic run, and that was a dynastic run of the 90s. I think they're going to just handle it. I don't think they're going to sit there and go, uh-oh, we can't handle it. In the middle of the third quarter, everyone expects us to win. Look at that scoreboard. They're so talented. They're so good. I think it's going to be an overreaction of even a conversation of pressure for them. That they're going to
at all this season?
I think that they're going to perform so well, we won't even talk about the pressure on them. Let's revisit in January. If they have to wind up in Kansas City again, let's talk about that then.
Yeah, they better have
Put a pin in it for the moment. I say that's an overreaction. What's next?
Okay. I saw a great headline today about Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. The ball's flying out of his hand. He's a leader. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's spotting dimes.
Oh, my gosh.
Baker's going to have the Panthers in the playoff hunt all year long.
I think so. I think, again, it's your burning question for Carolina a couple days ago was about Matt Rule's hot seat. It's McCaffrey's health. End of story.
Well, we know he's going to be healthy for week 1.
Yeah, I guess. Let's just make sure he's in bubble wrap walking around his house or in the Culpo residence, wherever he might be.
Ew.
Honestly, that's it. Him coming out of college, it was don't draft him top 10. He's a piece of Stanford China that can easily break. And he can't run between the tackles. And then his first couple years, he said, I'll show you. And then the last 2 years have been a disaster of him unable to stay healthy. Soft tissue all over the place. That's what it's about. But yeah, I think Baker has the stuff, if healthy and protected, with DJ Moore and the McAdoo menu sheet. We might I'll say that's not an overreaction. I do like Baker and Carolina quite a bit. What's next?
Let's stay in that division.
Yes, sir.
Bucs offensive line injury issues notwithstanding. No Gronk, no Antonio Brown, Russell Gage banged up. But Todd Bowles thinks Julio Jones has many good years left. Julio Jones is a key to the Bucs offense.
I don't think he's a key. I think that if he does perform similarly over the next 2 years, it's not going to be make or break for the Bucs. But him showing up like he did in Atlanta would be immensely helpful. So I will keep an eye on that. I'll put a pin in it. But for the moment, I don't think he has to do that. I think Russell Gage is the guy. I've been saying it since he signed there, that it's the most successful under-the-radar signing, possibly successful under-the-radar signing of the entire NFL in the hell-going-on month of March. So, but, man, if he shows up and starts balling out, has a 100-yard game here and there and other places, and suddenly it's Godwin, Evans, and Jones and Gage.
Oh, baby.
Good Lord. And Gage is right. Warp factor 5. What else?
Let's go to college now, guys. They won this weekend by a combined 8,000-3, it seems like. We're headed for another Alabama-Georgia title game.
No. I know the Ohio State fans will raise their hands and say, well, don't forget about us. And my team looked really good, too. And a handful of teams did as well. But, I mean, come on. Let's see what A&M has to say. Did you see Texas?
We're going to find out.
Texas is going to put the Alabama band in the rafters, and the Alabama band, it's like that we're not coming or something like that. I don't know. I shouldn't say things that I didn't completely read. I just glanced at on my Twitter feed over the weekend. But
there we get Jordan Love's parents' seats.
I think they are. So they're not coming. Yeah, McConaughey's like, put them in the rafters. I don't know how you can say otherwise.
Yeah, just beat that. All right, here's a super overreaction. Brian Kelly, one and done at LSU.
That's absurd. What is with the Brian Kelly hate, man? What is with it? The pile-on, the Twitter pile-on was just intense.
I think the fake accent, the weird dancing with recruit videos,
Notre Dame.
And just peace out Notre Dame. I don't know, man.
What do you begrudge this man who wants to maybe go to a spot where he doesn't have a provost telling him 90% of the time you can't sign that kid? Seeing what it feels like to be on the other side, the SEC side of things. I mean, after all that time successfully showing that Notre Dame's just a stepping stone job,
I think the accent thing for me is
that what it was?
He's from New England.
He's not one and done, man. He's not one and done. I mean, even Coach O got more time, man.
Not that much long after winning a title.
Come on.
All right, last one. Just start the expanded college playoffs now. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, I know.
What are we doing?
Because it's the TV. I don't think TV's ready yet. I don't know.
It's not hard to fix this. Let's go. Not even this year. Maybe just next year. We're going to wait till 2026?
Yeah. I mean, I guess to put it all together, maybe we do need those extra games to tenderize Georgia and Alabama. Maybe somebody could pick them off. Maybe some Cinderella can go into in between the hedges or Tuscaloosa, because I guess
they're going to get home games.
Right?
Well, the first round, top two teams get buys.
Right.
And then
the top four get buys.
And then those four highest seeds get home games.
Right. I think that's
which is going to be amazing. Let's just get right to it.
I know, as you know, preparations must be made. Gus Johnson or Chris Fowler's schedule has to be cleared. I'm with you.
I like Joe Tessa's call, by the way, for college. He does a great job.
A little shot of Tessitore is always great.
He does a great job.
Okay, very good. Good overreaction all Tuesday.
Right, we're back.
Where were we? We've literally done Overreaction Monday every Monday.
Keep it going.
Why not?
It never stops.
Dude, it's a football season.
I got hot takes everywhere.
What's it going to be like when there's 9 1:00 games at once on Sunday? 9.
I'm going to have 9 TVs going at my house.
9 NFL games start at once on Sunday. By the way, and that's after the Bills and Rams play.
I need to hire a babysitter.
That's
I can't
after college Saturday.
No, all that's in preparation.
Yes, look at the number of 1:00 games
to varsity
up
playing
there.
that night.
Dude, 9 1:00 games. Jeez. We're going to have to get to this at some point over the week. Of course we will. We've got 3 more days. I'm just fired up. This is what I love doing shows like this. I love it. I love in-studio guests. I love pop culture and sports. I love having Bob Costas, Stephen A. Smith, and I love having Von Miller on the same schedule as our next guest about to come out here to talk about Cobra Kai and Karate Kid and First Blood Part 2.
First Blood Part 2.
Okay, we got a celebrity true or false, and I do believe he has agreed to do what we've asked him to do, is to deliver hot takes. Martin Kove's NFL hot takes coming up. Entering our dojo when we come back on the Rich Eisen Show.
Yes, Sensei.
Okay, we're back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Our terrestrial radio audience, coast to coast, will rejoin us in a couple minutes' time. So it's the first of 2 times I introduce my in-studio guests, one of the stars of Season 5 of the hit show Cobra Kai, that's going to be available for streaming this very Friday, September 9th, only on Netflix. The man who's played John Kreese in so many of these great TV episodes, and, of course, the Karate Kid film series. Martin Kove, good to see you, sir. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm great. So let's get to a clip while our radio audience is away. This is you in Season 5. You're in the Hooskow, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. And you were chatting with a member of, I guess, the support staff. Here's Martin Kove in Cobra.
He's such a monster in this. He's just, they had this scene, part of that scene, they re-edited it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I have the line, I think being kind goes a long way. And it intercuts with me beating the hell out of everybody in the gym.
Fantastic.
And it's funny because you think the characters, it can't give away many spoilers right now, but you think the character's gone. And he does get his revenge.
That's the voice of John Kreese, a.k.a. the actor Martin Kove, who's sitting right to my right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Our terrestrial radio audience has just returned. Season 5 of Cobra Kai is back on Netflix starting this very Friday. What was it like? Who called you to say, would you like to reprise your role from the Karate Kid series? Walk me through getting that call.
Well,
Martin
all
Kove.
3 writers, and I was in touch with Josh Heald, one of the 3 writers, and they had gotten Billy and Ralph, and I was interested in doing it, and we had, I think it was dinner here at Dan Tanner's, I think, and I was interested in doing it, but I did not want to do it in the one-dimensional framework of John Kreese in Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3. Just a tough ice, and I said, can we write him with more vulnerability, with more texture emotionally? And they said, yeah, we're interested in doing that. So they'd done it a little bit with the flashbacks and all. And my son was actually in the first flashback. He played a bully that you think is me, but he isn't. He's bullying me at 1965 circa in a flashback, in a diner scene. But the bottom line was each season they come up with more of a backstory that I backstory everything. So I write a lot of lines in between the lines of the script, and I create a fantasy, a background, and every one of my notes, working with mercenaries, working with Army Rangers, that I tried to give them each season, they were a year and a half ahead of me. They just knew everything. They had the same plans for my character as I did.
Well, that's the beauty of television, right? Is that you can plan ahead, obviously, if you're fortunate enough to get renewed. And then the minute this hit, it was on YouTube to start. And obviously you came towards the end of the first season. But the ferocity of the fan base love for the return, because of the stuff that you're talking about. It wasn't just cookie cutter, one note reprising of the characters from 30 years before. It was an actual deep dive into psyches and relationships and real life stuff. It was really neat.
It came at a right time because it was the highest rated show YouTube ever had.
Right.
And they left the writers alone to create.
Yes.
They didn't hold them, when I did Cagney and Lacey, you had 6 years and you had constant people trying to reinvent things rather than stick to current events that Barney Rosenzweig insisted as the creator of the show.
Right.
He insisted we stick to the events of the New York Times, and then we'll just write scripts about that. Well, nowadays you can't really do that. You get a lot of interference, and YouTube let us go. And then it's all in the writing. And I find out if I go through conventions, I always ask people, why do you watch the show? Why is it so important to you? And it's basically because the parents wanted the kids to watch Cobra Kai movies, the Karate Kid movies.
Oh, I showed it to I've got a 13-year-old, well, at the time, 13, 11, and or 10 and 8. We showed it to them. And
after they started watching Cobra Kai?
No, before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Then
they had no idea what Cobra Kai was at all. And we just said, you know what, let's show a movie that... We said, let's show a movie with when we were kids. And, of course, they immediately said, no way.
Yeah, right.
Of course not.
Of course.
Immediately, no. We don't want to watch something that's old. And I'm like, it's actually outstanding. And they ate it up, Martin. They ate it up. It was amazing. Kids did it.
You got lucky that you were able to do it first.
Yes.
Most of the parents ask the kids, and the kids say, no, I don't want to watch what you watched.
Right.
And then they watch Cobra Kai with the kids.
Yes.
And then the kids say, you know that movie you were talking about?
Yeah, let's watch
that. Show me that movie.
Right.
So the adults, this is a story related to me so many times. They'll show them Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, and everybody's hooked. And what it creates is a family show that you and I watched as Ed Sullivan. When Ed Sullivan came on, it became a family show, and we'd get around Sunday nights and watch it. There was always something for someone. Now that's Cobra Kai now. There's always something for someone. Whether you're 6, 16, I get occasionally cameos requesting not only from bar mitzvahs for kids, or priests saying we really want you to do a pep talk for someone because we're having an auction in the congregation, and we want a John Kreese pep talk.
Yeah.
But I get stuff of people turning 60 and 70 who are fans of the show.
Of course.
So it's like, it's a little phenomenon. And Billy and Ralph and I don't look that much different than, knock on wood, So it's like the parents are watching what they watched when they were 16. And the kids are just enamored with everything else.
Cobra Kai, again, season 5 is coming to Netflix starting on this Friday. We've got a game here that we play called Celebrity True or False, where we ask about your filmography, your television story, as well as your career. And that's out there on the internet.
I'll never work again after I do this,
just to see what's true or false. Let's hit it. Martin Kove, Celebrity True or False. Hit it, please. Hit it.
Celebrity True or False.
You can't handle the truth.
See, we have window dressing and production value for you right there, Martin Kove. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I know you're blown away. First things first up. True or false, Martin Kove? You were encouraged to stay in acting by none other than Sean Connery, who later became tennis buddies with you. Is that true or false?
It's true.
Okay. What were you on the fence? And Sean, how did you come across Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, I was his stand-in in 1972 when I was still acting in New York for a movie called The Anderson Tapes. And it was like a glorified extra. You just stand there, you listen to Sidney Lumet direct, you watch, you watch Sean interact with Martin Balsam and all these other people. And I learned one thing. I learned how to listen by watching Sean Connery. Then probably 15 years later, I've done Karate Kid. I'm a little more established, and I bump into him on a tennis court. And I said, "You want to hit the ball?" And I said to him, "Do you remember me? I was your stand-in." He says, "Nope." He said, "Nope." He said, "But do you want to hit the ball?" And I said, "Sure." And we're hitting the ball, and he was terrible. He wasn't hitting well. He had a back problem.
Oh, boy.
And he was cursing. But he was cursing, which I can't say here on the show. But he was cursing so much like we do as teenagers, and I'm cracking up hysterical because I'm saying on the other side of the court, I'm playing tennis with James Bond, and he's goddamn cursing just like I do, And I'm dying. I couldn't hit the ball back either because I was laughing so hard. And then we became friends, And so what they're referring to is I asked him, because I was accepted to a classical repertory company, and I was accepted also to the NYU School of the Arts at the same time. And it would have been the 5th year of college. And I said, I posed the question, do I go back to school or do this? And he said, "Young man, if you can do Antigone, you can do anything," which means go work with the repertory company and forget about school. And I did.
And you did that.
I did that.
And so after the Anderson Tapes, you started getting some gigs here in town with the Rockford Files, right? You were on the Rockford Files?
That was in New York.
Okay.
I was there, and I came here, and I guess in the first year I was here, I got a lot of those guest stars, like in the Rockford Files, like 8 TV shows and 3 movies.
Because you told a story off camera here. You knew James Garner off set, right?
Yeah.
And did you go to a sporting event with him or something like that?
We went to, we had the same orthopedic doctor, Robert Rosenfeld, who ran with the Raiders.
Okay.
And he took us to all the games, and we went on the field and with the passes and heard all the hits and the bangs.
Up in Oakland you're talking about?
Yeah,
or
both.
Here? Okay.
Oakland and
L.A.?
And L.A. They played in L.A. a couple of times. Then they were still the Oakland Raiders.
Right.
And it was fantastic. I mean, as a New Yorker, I didn't root for the Giants or the Jets. So this was my first experience, and I loved it. And I was a soccer goalie because I wanted to play football. But none of the schools had football teams that I went to. So ultimately, I just lived vicariously through these players.
What's it like going to a football game with James Garner? What was that like? He must have been like a rock star.
He's a lot of fun. I mean, but I love James Garner in Maverick.
Yes, sure.
I was, that was the period of time where there were 35 Westerns on primetime TV in the 60s. And Maverick was my favorite.
Sure.
And we talked about it, and we talked about the Americanization of Emily. We talked about we talked about The Great Escape.
What a great movie that is.
I mean, we talked about great films,
of course.
And that's the greatest thing working with, like when I worked with James Cobra, it was his last movie, and I just talked about Magnificent Seven, and I just talked about also The Great Escape with him. and an iconic actor. And I just have a good time. And even with Charles Bronson, we talked about so much. Charles Bronson surprised me. His favorite show was Cagney and Lacey.
I don't mean to laugh, but
I laughed. I was in a.
Was he a Sharon Gless fan? Is that what you're talking about?
That was it. Sharon Gless, Tyne Daly.
Yes, of course.
I'm at an event. After doing what did I do? White Buffalo, 1976.
Yes.
Then I didn't see him till 1989. Yeah. I'm at a black tie event. I walk up to him and I say, "Hey, Charlie, you remember me from the White Buffalo?" And he says, "Oh yeah, you're still doing that series with them girls." And I say, "You watch Cagney and Lacey?" And Charlie says, "My favorite show."
Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure. Martin Kove here, Celebrity True or False, rolling on. All right, let's get to some Karate Kid questions. Your role of John Kreese, true or false? Others considered for it: Kurt Russell, Jeff Bridges, Harvey Keitel, Leonard Nimoy, and Christopher Walken. Is that true?
No.
That's not true?
No. I mean, that might have been true behind doors that I never knew. The actors I knew, they were contemplating Toshiro Mifune. They were contemplating Chuck Norris. Toshiro Mifune, they were thinking about him for Miyagi, but he also could have been the teacher. But his whole group didn't speak enough English. He had a massive entourage, and John Avildsen told me the story. But he didn't speak English well enough either to play Kreese or Miyagi. But none of those other actors were mentioned. I think it was John Glover was mentioned.
But Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris, considered? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chuck Norris.
Man.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
It would have been definitely interesting, but obviously you were John Kreese, man. You still are today.
I don't know. It's just, it was pretty crazy because I never thought of that character as being any more than another heavy. It was a couple of weeks' work, and none of us liked even the title.
That was one of the questions here, and let's get into that. True or false? No, you just said it's true. The cast universally hated the Karate Kid's film title. You hated it?
They felt like it was like a Bruce Lee movie, and but nothing wrong with the Bruce Lee movie. Sure, I mean, I love Enter the Dragon.
Sure,
but the bottom line is, we weren't like that. This was nobody expected the success of this film. You look at Casablanca, you look at Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you see it once, bam. You look at the dailies, you know what you're getting. It's going to be terrific. No one really knew, and I would hear the story from Jerry Weintraub and John until they went to the screening. I think it was in Westwood, and they went to a screening and everybody went wild at the end of the movie. And you get chills.
Yeah.
Ralph and I once were at a convention and we watched the end of the movie from behind the screen, and 2,000 people were in front. So we watched the ending and we still got chills. This is a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. And because it's one of those movies, it's a phenomenon. It means, and I have this discussion with Robert Kamen, the writer. He thinks the success is based on Ralph's chemistry with Miyagi. To me, the success of that film is the writing, just like Cobra Kai. Wax on, wax off, no mercy, sweep the leg, mercies for the weak, the force be with you, play it again, Sam. These lines come from great literature that were good scripts and made terrific movies.
Well, a part of me, because I've thought about it too, having seen it so many times, Martin Kove here on the Rich Eisen Show, so many people have been bullied in their lives. So many people have, maybe from a single parent household or moved across the country and were desperate to seek a moment where they can get a toehold in life and turn things around or be successful or be loved, and that story, along with Miyagi coming in where he did, that's what it is. And obviously you and your character and Billy Zabka's character standing in the way, it's kind of classic. It's a classic tale, but told in a way that I'd never seen before, So I've got an interesting question for you here too, because we have this conversation. Is it a sports movie? Do you consider The Karate Kid a sports movie? In the same way where, obviously when you say sports movies, we think of
like
natural,
Major
right?
League, yeah, the natural Hoosiers.
Right.
Yeah, movies
That's.
like that.
Do you consider The Karate Kid a sports movie, Martin Kove?
They did something on ESPN once, and they had a list of all the sports movies, and we were on this disc.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. I actually consider this. Karate. The value of karate is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
What it does for your focus in life is you can't even discuss it because it's also personal. So when you master and you become a black belt, you have mastered enough discipline and focus to assist in your life for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the value of it. I don't think that learning to kick, the kick at the end, this crane kick, is a totally illegal kick. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I mean, Billy is the Karate Kid, not Ralph Macchio,
Sure.
And I've said this for 30 years, but nobody except after 10 years of the movie being in release realized that kick was a fantasy. There was no such kick as the crane kick. And then, but for 10 years, Bill, the Karate Kid has been Ralph Macchio.
Sure.
But the bottom line is, it's not about kicks. It's not about crescent kicks and punches and me going through the window with my real fist. It's not about that. It's all about the heart. And that's what that movie's about. And when I ask people why you like Karate Kid, and they all tell me the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I identified with it because my father was in the military and we traveled a lot, or because I got bullied in high school, or because I had a romance that just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the three elements that always allowed them to identify with Ralph, with the story. And so to me, it's not a sports movie. Is Casablanca a sports movie? Really, we avoid the Nazis and all that stuff.
Right.
It's a movie about the heart and tenacity.
Martin Kove here on the Rich Eisen Show. Before I let you go, sir, I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind channeling your inner John Kreese for a fun segment that we hope everyone will agree. We all thought, the NFL season is upon us. It starts Thursday night right here in Los Angeles, and I'm wondering we've written out some hot takes, some NFL hot takes from you. The camera's right there, and you can read it and deliver it however you can. Martin Kove, as John Kreese, NFL hot takes. Would you mind doing this for us right now?
Now, this is my favorite team, so I'm going to do it first out of order.
Okay, you can do whatever you wish. But first things first, we've got the music. Okay. Here's Martin Kove, John Kreese with NFL hot takes. Go for it.
Everyone thinks the Dallas Cowboys aren't as good as last year or any year when they've won it all. But guess what? Dak is back. Zeke can eat. And their all-world rookie, Micah Parsons, is now a grown lion roaring in the turf. I say the Dallas Cowboys will sweep the leg and finally win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yes, Sensei.
That's thank you, Sensei. Okay, here's the second hot take. Martin Kove's John Kreese NFL hot take.
Pain has sadly existed in Miami ever since Dan Marino left the Dolphins. But not anymore. It's time for the new Cobra Kai in South Florida to raise with the greatest accuracy ever seen on the football field. He will finish in the top 3 as an MVP voter, and his name is Tua.
Yes, Sensei.
Okay. We have one more Martin Kove hot take for the 2022 season as John Kreese. You have the floor, sir.
So, the youngster in San Francisco still has his old sensei on the team. And the whole football world suddenly has no mercy for Trey Lance. Well, I say, Jimmy G will start no games. No games for the 49ers this year. And Trey Lance will help his team rule the NFC West dojo.
Yes, Sensei.
NFL hot takes from Martin Kove. That's a winner.
His favorite team. Did you hear that, by the way?
Cowboys, your favorite team, huh? How about
Cowboys.
that?
Cowboys. The Cowboys. I used to watch when I was the Raider fan, and then they weren't playing, and I would watch great quarterbacks, just teams. I would watch Dan Marino. Sure. I would watch Joe Montana. And I wasn't a fan of their teams, but I so very much like watching in those days, Staubach and
Aikman later on.
Yeah, Troy Aikman later on. I mean, there was so much going on, so much hot football that, and then I became, eventually, the Raiders hadn't gotten a quarterback in a long time, and I got tired of losing.
I understand.
So I popped over to the Cowboys, and I'm going to go to a game this year and just go down there because it's just it's a good organization.
I can hear you. And so I guess your hot take's not so hot. You really believe the Cowboys are going to win it all.
Yeah.
So, okay, very good.
I agree.
All right, I know you want to ask Martin one question before he goes.
We just need one crazy, Stallone story from Rambo.
What do you got? You got anything?
Stallone story from Rambo. Yeah, sure. I got a good one. It won't incriminate me. It's good. All right. So we're at a disco. I think Carlos.
By the way, that's it. That's it. That's a great way to start. Honestly, if we could have scripted it, you would have started it that way. I didn't mean to stop you. Okay. Sorry, Martin Kove. You got the. So you and Stallone are at a disco.
Well, no, but we're at a disco with the security guys, and I think it's Carlos and Charlie's. I think that was what it was in Acapulco, because that's where we shot.
It's getting better. Okay.
And this is good. This is good. And whenever the girls would come up to Sly and they'd ask him, one girl would come up and say, would you like to dance? And he would say no. And then another girl would say, they'd come up to him and if he said yes, he'd be in trouble.
Sure.
So he most of the time would say no. Well, in this case, I was sitting with him and a guy came up and said, "What's the matter? You too good to dance with my girl?"
Oh,
So all of a sudden there's a fight, and it's like we're all fighting, and we're all fighting.
Like an actual fight?
Like a fight.
In
Yeah, this guy
in
threw a
Acapulco
punch.
disco.
He threw a punch in Acapulco. It's not even good to get into a fight in Acapulco disco, Mexico. But the bottom line is, the greatest story is that they had to lift Sly up, like as if you're watching Bruce Springsteen in a concert where he gets handled.
Crowd surfing, yeah.
Yeah. So they lifted him up, these security guys, and took him out of the club. We all had to leave the club. To me, it was hysterical because, we would have stayed there and fought because that's just what we do.
It's first blood. A lot of blood.
It's just what we do.
A lot of blood. A lot of blood. Oh, my God. So, did you get the story you wanted?
That's a great story.
I mean, there's a lot of stories. That's like, doesn't incriminate me.
That's great. That's great. All right.
That's the story we were hoping for.
That's it. Season 5 of Cobra Kai can be checked out for streaming this very Friday on Netflix. Martin Kove, thank you for coming on. This was
my
a blast.
pleasure.
Thanks for your hot takes. Thanks for your hot takes. Appreciate it.
All righty.
That's Martin Kove, everybody. Follow him on @Martin Kove on Twitter and Instagram. We're back to wrap up the show in a moment. How many brothers do you have?
3.
3.
Yes.
So are you the lone?
I'm the second oldest, so I had some power.
But you're the lone girl in the
I'm the lone girl,
family?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I played a lot of sports growing up.
What'd you play?
Soccer.
Okay.
Yeah. I played on all boys teams.
Yeah, Rich, Karate Kid. She plays soccer.
Oh, yeah. I had to pretend to be bad in
Right.
the Karate Kid. I had to pretend I didn't know what I was doing, but I was better than Ralph Macchio at soccer. Way. And probably at karate, too.
When it all got down to it.
Of course, I didn't train. I'm sure it would have been much better if I had trained.
That wasn't part of your role.
No, it wasn't.
In the film. So
I
that
could
was.
have kicked his ass.
You could have swept the leg. You could have done all of that
Totally.
stuff. What was that like for you, being a new actress in the world and getting to be in the Karate Kid right off the bat? What was that like for you, Elizabeth?
Well, I had been in the business for about 5 years before that, so it wasn't
Okay.
sort of this sudden experience. I was the Burger King girl. I did a lot of commercials. I
Okay.
sort of slowly learned my way into it.
So you just showed up on the set of Karate Kid. Did you have any idea how special that movie was when you were doing it?
None. I was worried. I thought it sounded a little strange, the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And Ralph being Ralph. I didn't think that he would have any credibility as a karate expert.
Wow. Ralph had no idea he's waking up today. He's going to get thrown under an Elizabeth Shue bus.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
No, it was amazing, though, to see that movie actually stand the test of time. All my kids have watched it. I love what it says about sports and about the relationship between Miyagi and Daniel is so beautiful. And
Right.
so there's so much that's good about it.
Oh, yes. Martin Kove is taking off right now. It's
Yes.
like, I love guests like this where they're like, take care. See you later.
Take it easy.
There he goes. Oh, by the way, I shouldn't show my pits, I guess. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Martin Kove has just left the building. Martin Kove's hot takes, I think, went well.
I think it went well.
The Cowboys are going to sweep the leg.
I mean, apparently so.
Okay.
People were asking if I wrote that. I didn't write that.
No.
Those are Martin Kove's thoughts.
All right, yeah. Rich wrote him up. It was great.
Yep.
Came out awesome. Also, Martin Kove, Mount Rushmore, Hollywood butt chins.
I think so. And I don't know how many of the before you go, give me one story answers could top that. That's a top 5.
Oh,
Soaring to Disco. Tell me about it. Give me a good slide story. Soaring to Disco.
We're running
in
along.
Acapulco. I mean, that's literally a Mad Lib. We would have written in disco and Acapulco.
Man, we're running long. He's got to go.
He's got to go.
Well, we got to go. We got to hear something about Rambo. Home run.
Somebody upset that Stallone won't dance with any women, including his own. What are you, too good? You too good? You won't dance with my woman?
Too good to dance with my girl.
Right. With my like. Okay, that's
think-
odd. And then they start throwing down.
Do you think the guy did a Stallone impersonation to Stallone, and that started the hands?
No, I just think that
Why would you start a fight with Rambo?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Rocky.
Or Rocky.
Exactly.
Ex-
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I mean, unless Carl Weathers.
We
And
could- by the way,
Martin Kove is 76. He could kick all of our asses right now.
Exactly.
we got in the last couple of months on this program dynamite Stallone stories from Martin Kove and Henry Winkler.
Fact.
All that's left is
the man himself.
Yeah. Getting Stallone in.
He has been invited through my pediatrician, my old pediatrician, I might add.
Dr. Vinny Boombots?
Definitely not Vincent Boom.
Also mine.
That's right.
Stallone does fight parties at his house. We could just go with Glazer
Let's go.
one day.
Yeah.
That is true.
Sideline Mike in Atlanta is going to have the last word on today's show. What's up, Sideline Mike? What's going on?
I have missed you guys.
Right back at you.
DJ.
What's up, Mike?
Everybody. Mike. Hey, man. Did you watch the game Saturday?
Yes, I watched the game Saturday. Brockman was there.
I was at the game, Mike.
Hey, Brockman, you had a blast, didn't you?
Oh, I had a great time.
He doesn't remember it.
And they covered. Georgia's covered in more top 15 games than anybody. But look, Rick,
Georgia. Hey, Sideline Mike. Georgia didn't just cover; they smothered. They did it all.
They scattered, smothered, and covered. Okay, now, that was a chesty move at the Gold Jacket dinner, sir. Chesty, woo, Rich. That was a big check you wrote, my brother. All I'm gonna say.
Chesty move. That's a chesty move. Rich's chesty move.
And Mariota will be out by game 8, and Mr. Ritter going to take it the rest of the way.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys next week.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Thank
Mike.
you very much. Michigan just moved into the top 5 in the Associated Press, number 4. So is it?
Clemson wins and goes down.
So it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yep. Clemson. That's your top 5.
There you go. Hey, at least Michigan and Ohio State are scheduled to play each other. Unlike Alabama and Georgia, let's just not schedule each other.
They will play each other.
Oh, my God. Sound like Jerry Jones.
In the SEC championship
They're going to be back
game.
for the playoffs. I didn't know.
Probably the national championship.
October 8th, Texas A&M and Alabama. That's the apple cart that could be the upsetter. And make Mr. Desmond Howard look sage.
A lot of UT fans are saying, hold on, wait till next week.
Texas?
Alabama's a 3-touchdown favorite next week.
Oh, my God.
See, Quinn Ewers got his car towed during the game.
Did he really? I didn't see that.
He's the starting quarterback. He's getting his car towed.
What?
I missed that.
Yeah.
How's that even possible?
I have no idea.
I missed
Arch
that.
Manning looked good on Friday night,
Bro,
though, TJ.
I text you
You
that.
see some of those highlights making the rounds?
Mm.
Arch Manning dropping dimes.
I'm going to be on the boat sooner than later. I'm just telling you,
Okay.
baby. Yes, invest in Arch. I'm telling you guys. Let's go.
Billy Gardell of Bob Hart Abishola is on tomorrow. Mina Kimes in studio tomorrow as we just inch that much closer to the start of the season. I want to thank Martin Kove. What a delight of Cobra Kai. I also want to thank Von Miller, Stephen A. Smith, and Bob Costas. That'll wrap it up right here on this edition of the Rich Eisen Show on our radio outfit. But for those checking us out on YouTube, stick around. We'll take you to the top of the hour to wrap up Tuesday in a moment. All right. What a fun show, huh? We're back.
We're back.
The NFL season is literally here.
I have a couple more weeks.
Football season is underway.
Who's going? Are you going to the game Thursday or not?
You're not saying?
No, I'm doing the pregame and halftime for Westwood One. I was even invited to go and do it from there.
From there.
No thanks.
All right.
No thanks. Number of times that I'm going to be schlepping to Inglewood and battling the traffic to get in and out.
Yeah,
that is going to be
I am not a jaded individual. I'd rather do this from home and sit at home and watch with my kids.
Yeah.
Father of the year. That's me.
Father of the year.
I am.
That's true.
I think my babysitter's coming at like 1 o'clock.
Oh, so you're going.
We're going.
Yeah, we're going.
You gotta go. We're going. I'm going.
We're actually going to be going 2 weeks in a row, rarity, because the Falcons play out here week 2.
Oh, nice.
So we're going both.
So Falcons Rams.
Falcons Rams week 2. So yes, we're going both games.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I don't know what the policy is at the network this year. I don't know if I can have guests to watch some games. If that's the case, we'll just figure it all out.
Yeah, I still haven't been over there.
It's
Sarah's there today, actually rehearsing some stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some people were sending me pictures, but
of her at the NFL Network.
Yeah, they're rehearsing. She's doing some stuff for Amazon. So
damn, I need to get over there, make sure she's not taking my chair. I'll see you tonight, though. I'll say hi to your lady for you.
Hey.
Yeah, me, Irv, Kurt, and Mooch at 8 Eastern time for the kickoff show tonight. We will see you on Wednesday right here.